Hello,
Alright.
everyone. This is Brother Benson, and this morning I'm joined with Mzalendo again this Sunday morning. Mzalendo, habari gani?
Niko salama
Mm,
salimini.
mhm.
Tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa
Okay,
siku ya
sawa.
leo.
We labda mtu akikuuliza jambo
Mm.
gani unaweza jivunia kwamba umefanyia nchi yako?
Jambo ambalo naweza jivunia
Mm,
kuwa nimefanyia nchi yangu.
mm,
Eh, Kila kwa sasa kila asubuhi
mm,
nikiamka naongelesha Wakenya kutoka kwa channel yangu ya Afrika
mm,
24 at least kila wiki naongea
yeah,
na Wakenya na nawajaribu kuelimisha
mhm,
dhidi ya kuchagua viongozi wazuri ya
mm,
kila wakati. Hiyo ndio jukumu langu kama Mkenya. Kila
ehe,
siku
mm,
nipatiwe nafasi kama hapa Brother Ben Media
mhm,
nikuje niongee na Wakenya na niwaelimishe juu
yeah,
ya ufisadi,
mhm,
uongozi bora
mhm,
na haki zao kama Wakenya. So najivunia ile nafanya kila siku
mhm,
kama Mkenya.
mhm.
Mm.
Na labda tu kuna kauli ambaye Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere alisema
Mm.
kwamba CCM wanataka mabadiliko. Wasi wasipoipata ndani ya CCM basi wataitafuta nje ya CCM. Na hiyo kauli nailinganisha na chama cha ODM kwa saizi. Kwa sababu naona kwamba kuna wengi ambao labda kuna ile mabadiliko ambayo labda inatakikana pale ndani. Unadhani hiyo mabadiliko isipopatikana pale kwa ODM wataipata mahali wale ambao labda wanataka mabadiliko?
Ah, Nimesema mara mingi ya kuwa mabadiliko huji kwa njia rahisi.
Mm.
Kitu ambayo lazima tujue ni mabadiliko, hata sisi ile tunajivunia mabadiliko ya usemi, mabadiliko bado tunapigania mabadiliko ya haki ya binadamu,
Mhm.
mabadiliko katika uongozi ama kwa hizi vyama hazikuji kwa urahisi.
Yeah.
Lazima kukuwe na hizo kerekere mingi ama kelele
Mhm.
mingi katika hizi vyama, ndio posa wapate nafasi ya kuchagua wale viongozi wale wanatakikana. Na mimi
Mm.
nimesema mara mingi, hii kelele unaona inafanyika haswa katika hizi vyama, sasa katika chama cha ODM
Mhm.
ni kelele ya demokrasia, ni
Mm.
kelele ya demokrasia, na hii kelele iko na matunda yake, iko na matunda yake. Matunda yake ni uongozi bora, matunda yake ni more scrutiny to our leaders and more accountability is what this noise is all about. Unaona?
Mm.
Bila hii
Yeah.
kelele tunarudi kwa chama moja kama KANU, ndio baba na mama.
Baba na
So
mama.
unaona kama zile sehemu za Luo Nyanza, eh,
Mhm.
kama Wajaluo kwa sasa wanasema nyumba yao ni ODM, Odwa Otachiel, Wan
Mm.
Kaka Onagi. Unaona
Mm.
hizo misemi,
Yeah.
hizo misemi ni za kuunganisha jamii, lakini unaweza kuunganisha jamii kuwa eh, ku kuwaunganisha pamoja ili wewe mwanasiasa upate nafasi ya kujibinafsisha,
Mm.
kwa sababu hii jamii itakuangalia ni kama wewe unaangalia masuala yao na masilahi yao,
Mm.
ilhali tuko na hii uongozi wa devolution
Mm.
ya
Ugatuzi.
ugatuzi, tuko na ugatuzi. So tukiwa na ugatuzi mara mingi nimekuambia hapa katika hii channel ya Brother Ben, that ule jamaa aliandika chapter ya ugatuzi, marehemu Daktari Odhiambo Mbaye alisema hivi kwa jamii ya Wajaluo, na namnukuu, jamii ya Wajaluo hawahitaji uongozi wa urais tena, wanahitaji kufanya kazi, kujinufuisha, kujiboresha kimaisha na kutengeneza miradi zao, na hizi hela zinatoka kule national government. Unaona? Na ugatuzi ilikuja kwa sababu ule rais alikuwa pale mwanzo, Bwana Moi na Kenyatta, alibagua zile sehemu hazikuwa zinampigia kura, kuwa siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. So hii ugatuzi ilikuja kwa sababu ya yale Wakenya walipitia na uongozi wa vyama na chama moja cha KANU. Now,
Unadhani labda tu pole tu nikukate tu kidogo. Unadhani ilikuwa ni mfumo ambao walikuwa wanatumia ndio ulikuwa unapata kwamba walikuwa waleti maendeleo sehemu fulani, ama ilikuwa tu ni siasa tu ndio ukuwe kama ni mtu ambaye akienda pale mbele yake unagotika na kumuomba ama kumuabudu kwamba baba, mi nataka unipatie maendeleo. Na ukiangalia wakati huo na wakati wa saizi ambao tuko na katiba mpya, bado unapata kwamba foleni kubwa ya watu, ama mara mingi watu bado wanaitwa pale ikulu ya Nairobi, wakiambiwa kwamba lazima ujiungane na serikali ndio labda utapata maendeleo. Utofauti iko wapi?
tofauti ni kuwa viongozi wale wako sahi kama Bwana Ruto amefanya kazi na Moi. Kuna mambo mbili tatu aliona pale anajaribu bado kuhimiza ama kutekeleza, alikuwa anaona pengine inafanya kazi, but Kenya inahitaji kiongozi ule anaangalia pembe zote za nchi. Kama ulinipigia ama hukunipigia, ndakuletea maendeleo, upende usipende. Kama viongozi wenyu hawataki hiyo maendeleo, bado ndaileta, kwa sababu mimi ndio rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Na huo ndio rais tunamhitaji, sio rais ule anawaletea miradi kwa mnajili umpatie kura. Unaona vile jamii yako, for instance, wanasema maendeleo ile tumepata kwa sababu huyu rais ni kwa sababu tumeungana na yeye ama tunakubaliana na yeye. Hiyo ni makosa kubwa, kwa sababu hiyo ni jukumu la rais wa taifa kuleta maendeleo, na sio tafadhali. Unaona? Sio tafadhali na sio kwa kuomba, ni fanya kazi yako kama rais, peleka maendeleo mahali inahitajika. Kuna kabila 42 Kenya na zaidi, wale wana uchache, ni wachache, na wakiwa wachache kama kabila watapata maendeleo kivipi kama wana viongozi wale wana sauti? Hawawezi pata maendeleo. Kama kuna kabila ngapi? Kuna Wajaluo, Wakikuyu, Wakalenjin na Wakamba ndio kabila, na Wasomali sasa ndio kabila iko na sauti, then hizi kabila ndogo zitapata uongozi kivipi? Kwa hivyo tunataka kiongozi ule anafanya maendeleo Kenya mzima, pembe zote za Kenya, bila kubagua wewe unatoka kabila gani na wewe unaenda dini gani. Wewe bora uwe ni Mkenya. Ndio sababu tunapigia rais kura.
Okay, asante. Unajua leo wakati wa mazishi ya Beryl, dadake Raila Odinga ambaye leo alipatiwa heshima zake za jana, nasema jana kwamba alipatiwa heshima zake za mwisho. Wakati gavana wa Siaya alikuwa anaongea, akasema jambo fulani kwamba sisi sana sana, kwa sababu nasema sisi kulingana na eneo mimi natoka, kwamba sana sana jamii ya Wajaluo tushakaa kwa serikali ama kuna serikali mengi ambayo labda sisi tushakuwepo. Na kuna story ambayo tuko nayo sasa hivi mjini kwamba baba alituacha kwa serikali. Labda hii ndio serikali ya kwanza ambao labda jamii ya Wajaluo wamo ndani. Na Orengo alizungumza. Hiyo kauli wewe unaweza zungumzia vipi? Mzalendo uko wapi?
Nakusikia kaka.
Kauli ya Orengo kusema kwamba jamii ishawahi kuwa kwa serikali. Na hapa tu wanasema kwamba baba alituacha kwa serikali, na unaona kwamba jamii wanafurahia, hii ndio sasa kinakaa ni serikali ya kwanza ambao labda wako ndani. Wewe unaweza sema nini?
Wacha unajua hii mambo Raila ameguzia mara mingi sana, na akasema, unajua kitu ile wasemi ni alikuwa anamaanisha nini. Raila hakuwahi sema kwa wakati wowote that nyinyi kama Wajaluo nimewaacha kwa serikali. Hakuwahi sema wakati wowote. Alikuwa amesema kuna zile mikakati, zile 8 points zile alikuwa anataka Bwana Ruto atekeleze, ndio waone kama wataingia kwa serikali wafanye kazi pamoja. Kwa hivyo ukiona viongozi wanaongea that alituacha kwa serikali, lakini wasemi zile mikakati alikuwa ameweka pale ya serikali ya Ruto kutekeleza, ndio waone ya kuwa zile vitu Sifuna alikuwa anasoma pale baba akiwa zimetekelezwa. Hawaongei hiyo maneno. So hii njia ya kusema tumewachwa kwa serikali ni njia ya kusema tunataka kufanya kazi na Bwana Ruto. Na hiyo ni demokrasia. Hakuna demokrasia kusema ya kuwa jamii ya Wajaluo, jamii ya Luo Nation wataungana kusupport candidate fulani, kwa sababu mimi kama natoka hiyo kabila ya Wajaluo niko na demokrasia na haki ya kuchagua ule kiongozi namtaka. Lazima uniuzie sera zako, nipende ile kitu nasema, na nione maendeleo ile umefanya, ndio nikupigie kura. Ona, tuko na akili ya kutosha, sisi si watoto. Tuko na akili ya kutosha kujua kiongozi ule anafanya kazi. Kama Ruto amefanya kazi, maendeleo yake itaonekana kule Nyanza. Amejenga manyumba, ametengeneza biashara, watu uchumi wa Kenya imeinuka, vijana wamepata ajira, kuna mambo ya usalama iko shwari. Hiyo ndio itanifanya nipige kura. Haitafanya mimi mwenyewe si mkaaji wa kule Nyanza. Pengine nakaa kule Pwani, unaona? Pengine nakaa Nairobi, pengine niko ng'ambo. Lakini zile maswala zile zinani affect mimi kama Mkenya, ameziangalia, unaona? Siangalii ya kuwa ameangalia jamii yangu. Hiyo ni naweza sema ni ubinafsi ama selfishness, kwa sababu Mjaluo ama Mkikuyu, sana sana Mjaluo akiangalia ubinafsi wake, alafu baadaye anateta Gachagua akiangalia ubinafsi ya Wakikuyu, hawa
Mm.
wote ni watu mmoja, akili yao inafikiria the same way. Huwezi complain your tribalism pale na huku nyumbani bado una practice hiyo tribalism. Ile
Mm.
kitu tunasema ni service delivery. If the president is delivering on the 8-point agenda, if
Mm.
you are a member of ODM, and don't believe that everybody who speaks in Luo is a member of ODM, as if it is a
Mhm.
birth certificate you are given that wewe ukizaliwa lazima ufuate ODM. No, no, no. Pale
Mhm.
ndani ya ODM, pale kwa Wajaluo kuna watu wa KANU, kuna watu wa UDA, kuna cocktail ya hata kuna PDP ile
Mhm.
inatoka kule Migori. Sio watu wote wanafikiria chama ni ODM. ODM lazima pia iuze sera zake kwa wananchi ili wapende zile vitu wanafanya, lakini
Mhm.
ikikuwa bado wana mzozo katika chama
Mhm.
chao cha ODM, then wananchi pia hawana fursa, wako na nafasi ya kutafuta vyama zingine ambao hazina kelele. Unaona?
Okay. Asanti. Wacha nichukue fursa hii kusalimia wale ambao wanatutazama pia au wanatupatia maoni yao kupitia kwa pale. Naona Angela yuko pale. Naona pia ah, Dan pia yuko, Bishop Dan ama Askofu Dan ako pale. Naona pia Goodyear pia yuko pale. Mimi nawapatia salamu zangu. Ah, ah, Mzalendo, nadhani ulipata nafasi ya kufuata mazishi ya dadake Raila Odinga leo jana nasema, ah,
Mm.
na kulikuwepo na wanasiasa vilevile, kulikuwako na wanafamilia na waombelezaji tu kwa jumla naweza sema.
Mm.
Lakini kuna matukio mengi yalitokea pale, ambapo inakuja unajiuliza maswala mengi sana ama maswali mengi sana. Kwa sababu katika maisha ya binadamu tunajua tuko siku ya kuzaliwa, kuna siku ile unaoa na siku ile tunakupatia heshima zako za mwisho. Na hizo zote tatu ni muhimu katika maisha ya binadamu venye nilisema hapo awali. Lakini jana tuliona wakati maviongozi wengine walikuwa wanakuja, kuna wale walikuja na wafuasi wao ili wapigie kelele ama waonyeshe ubabe wao, na unapata kwamba unakuja na watu kama wao kwa hafla ambayo ni ya huzuni, ambapo mtu anazika dadake, mtu anazika mamake, mtu anazika nyanyake. Viongozi kama hawa ambao wako na tabia kama jana tuliona, we kwako inakupatia picha gani kwa wanasiasa?
Mm. Unajua niliona briefly na asikufurahia sana.
Mm.
Wanasiasa huwa wanaenda matanga, huwa wanapaswa kwenda matanga peke yao ama na familia yao,
Yeah.
kwa sababu ni matanga. Mm.
Mm.
Na wanajua kuna umati pale
Mm.
wa wale ama waombolezaji, maybe ni familia wale wamekuja hapo kwa jinsi kwa mnajili wa kusindikisha dada yao ama mmoja wa familia yao ule amefariki, yeah.
Mm.
So wanasiasa Kenya mara mingi au hutaka kuonyesha nguvu na wanataka kuonyesha kuwa wana mashabiki.
Mm.
Mm.
Si ni
Hiyo ni kuonyesha hiyo ni
mashabiki ya
kuonyesha
kukodeshwa
eh,
wanakodeshwa.
ni wanalipwa, wanakuwa mobilize. Ni mbinu ya kutishia ama kutisha wapinzani
Wow.
na wakati wanatisha wapinzani wao, kuna vyombo vya habari kama Afrique Media itachukua hiyo clip, ama Citizen ama Brother Ben itachukua hiyo clip na kuangazia that huyu mwanasiasa alikuwa na nguvu sana akiingia kwa matanga. Sasa siasa za matanga ni campaign zisizo, kwa Kiswahili nzuri naweza sema ni siasa ambazo sio rasmi, hazijatangazwa na hazina mipaka na ni ujumbe wanataka kutuma kwa wapinzani wao ya kuwa ground iko sawa na wazidi ku control the narrative ile wanajaribu kuuza kila wakati. So na pia ni njia moja pia ya kuonyesha ya kuwa wako solidarity na wapiga kura.
Na sasa nakubaliana na wewe kwa hayo yote ambayo umesema, lakini kumbuka hafla ambayo sisi tulikuwepo, ama katika hafla lazima uangalie. Labda tunaweza kusema kwamba hafla ilikuwa ile ya kutafuta kura. Hiyo itakubalika kwamba kwa sababu unataka uonyeshe ubabe wako, lazima saa zingine ukuwe umekodesha watu, ukuje nayo maeneo ambayo wewe upo, ama maeneo ambao unataka kuhutubia wananchi. Hiyo kimekubalika. Lakini hapa ni pale wanafamilia wanapatiana heshima za mwisho kwa mmoja wao, wako katika hali ya majonzi na unapata tu inatokea kama vile ilifanyika pale Kakango Kajaramogi wakati Ruth alikuwa anaongea. Uliona hakufurahishwa. Ikabidi Mama Aida pia akuje azungumze na wale, na Mama Aida alikuwa amesema wale vijana ambao mko nje ya hema, tafadhalini. Ni kwamba walikuwa wanajulikana kulingana na venye Mama Aida aliongea, kwa sababu hakusema wale wako ndani, alisema wale ambao wako nje na pia wale ambao wamekuja na wanasiasa. Sasa unapata tabia hii ama tabia kama hii, sisi kama nchi tunaitoa wapi?
Hii tabia iko sana iko kwa karibu kabila zote hizi zinatoka Western sana ndio naiona. Iko kwa Wajaluo kwa sana, Waluya na pia Kisii kidogo. Kabila ile sionagi wakiwa na hii shamra ni Wakikuyu, na Wakamba, hawana hii kelele mingi kwa matanga, na nawaambia hongera kwao kwa sababu hao wengine wameshindwa kudhibiti na kupatiana the last respect kwa mwenda zake. So unapata political mileage ukiwa wanasiasa wapendi kutumia hela mingi kumobilize, lakini pale kwa matanga watu wako tayari wa pale. So mara mingi kama hawaendi matanga zote, ukae kujua wanaenda matanga ya wakubwa peke yake. Hiyo group kina Babu Owino, kina Gladys Wanga, matanga ya maskini waendi
Mm.
kabisa, au wanaenda matanga ya wakubwa. Matanga ya maskini inawachiwa maskini, na hakuna mashamra shamra kama hizo, kwa sababu wale pale ni maskini, hawana kitu. Lakini wakienda kwa matanga ya matajiri kuna
Mm.
umati, na umati huo unavutiwa na wale wageni watakuja pale. Mara mingi
Mm.
kuna pesa inatolewa pale, kuna chakula, mandhari pale, mnaweza pewa pochopocho kidogo, unaweza onekana kwenye TV
Mm.
hivyo yeah. Mm.
Unajua, ona kenye askofu ameandika hapo, Boyd Were came in late with rowdy youths. Na unajua huu ni alichaguliwa tu juzi tu, ameingia bunge mara moja, siku ile alikuwa anaapishwa, lakini matendo hayo yayo yametendeka. Hata kama alikuwa na nia mzuri, lakini kwa familia na kwa macho za watu wengi ama kwa macho ya mtaa, haijampatia sifa mzuri sana. Wacha nikurudishe nyuma. Kuna wakati m Mheshimiwa Mark Nyamita na Mheshimiwa Chila Yako walienda katika mazishi fulani, na hao watu walikuwa na huyu jamaa Kaspal alikuwa anazika mke wake.
Mm.
Hao watu walikuja wakatoa vurugu mpaka hata Kaspal mwenyewe alikuwa anajua yuko wapi. Na mimi nilikuwa nadhani kwamba
Mm.
ni watu maviongozi wengine wanaweza chukua somo pale na waone kwamba picha ambayo yaani picha ambayo ilikuwa imeonyeshwa siku hiyo ilikuwa picha mbaya. Na haya mambo ambao walikuwa wanafanya kwa familia ambao wanasema kwamba wanawaheshimu kwa sababu Raila ametokea hapo, na pia ni familia ambao labda nasema wengine wamepata hizo nyadhifa kupitia tu kwa hiyo familia, ukiangalia kwa makini sana. Sasa heshima iko wapi?
Heshima hakuna, brother Ben.
Mm.
Kuna taa moja yangu inanisumbua, lakini najaribu kutengeneza, tutaongea tu.
Okay.
Heshima
Eh.
heshima heshima ilipotea kwa
Mm.
sababu hawa siasa, nikwambia, wanasiasa wanataka kuonekana ya kuwa
Mm.
wako na watu
Mhm.
Boyd Were alikuwa anataka kuonekana, mimi sikuchaguliwa tu, lakini
Mm.
ninapendwa,
Napendwa.
na waangalii ya kuwa hapo ni mahali pa mazishi, ni mahali watu wanaomboleza, watu wako na huzuni, watu
Mhm.
wanaleta furaha zao, hawajaenda mazishi kuomboleza Beryl, walikuwa wameenda
Mm.
kujionyesha. So hiyo ndio shida sana tuko nayo
Ah.
kwa hawa viongozi wetu kutoka Nyanza,
Mm.
juu wajui tofauti ya mazishi na political rally. So kwao
Mm.
mahali yote kuna watu, hiyo ni rally kwao, na
Mm.
kujionyesha sisi ndio viongozi, mtatufuata ama mtafuata huyu. Sasa wewe kama ulikuwa mpinzani wa Gladys Wanga ama Boyd Were,
Mhm.
unashikwa na baridi bwana, unasema huyu ana watu kweli
Mm.
ana watu kweli, hata kuzungumza utashindwa kuzungumza. Mm.
Hata za ndani sana zinahadithia kwamba hata gavana wa Homa Bay pia alibeba hao wafuasi wa kukodeshwa, wakakuja mpatia sifa zake,
Mm.
wakati ambapo walikuwa wanazika dada yake Raila Odinga. Asante sana. Wacha nisome hawa wanasema nini. I watched a funeral where an official was drafted in to take names for people who wanted IDs and dish out the IDs which were already processed. I mean, there is no respect for deceased. I tell you, that's where we are. Politics has taken the center stage. Let me see what Father Dan is saying. Father Dan is saying even Gladys Wanga came with a crowd. Gavana huyo wa Homa Bay. Okay, in the mountain we have hired crowds. Watch Wamatangi and Kaboko. So inaonekana hii ni sifa ya wanasiasa hii ni sifa ya wanasiasa ambao wanatumia kupata umaarufu kwa njia isiyofaa, na wanafanya hivi wakati watu wanapatiana heshima za mwisho kwa watu ambao wanawapenda, watu ambao wameishi nao, watu ambao wamewacha pengo kubwa katika familia zao, maisha zao. Nadhani siasa zetu ni siasa ambao zimekosa heshima, siasa ambao zinatawaliwa na ghasia, ubabe, ubingwa, mwambafai, unaweza ita mambo yote, kwa sababu tu ukuje watu wakupigie kelele. Wakishakupigia kelele itakusaidia nini? Kama ingekuwa ni unazika mamako, mtu afanye hivyo, utakuwa unazika babu yako, dadako, mume wako, mtu akuja afanye hivyo, utaona kwamba huyu mtu amekukosea heshima. Kwa wale kama unajua we ni miongoni wa viongozi ambao walipata watu wa kukodesha.
Unajua brother Ben, wewe uiangalii kwa njia ile watu wengine wanaangalia. Kama wewe ulikuwa unazika baba yako na unajua MCA wa hiyo area ni rafiki yako na hajaonekana kwa matanga, wewe ndio mtu wa kwanza kutouliza nani kiongozi gani, mbona hakuji? Mbona hakuji? Mbona hakuji? So ni mambo ambao wamezoea, unaona, ni
Okay.
mazoeo. So ni kitu ambayo inafanyika. We need to condemn it in the best term possible. It is primitive, it is unwanted, and it is uncultural.
Okay, wamesikia. Sasa ndugu yangu, kuna pahali pia nataka tuzungumzie. Hebu tuangazie Winnie Odinga kidogo. Winnie Odinga alipatiwa nafasi na mamake asalimie wale waombolezaji walikuja, na cha kwanza Winnie aliongea mambo ya ukoo, akajaribu kueleza, naweza sema kwamba miti ya ukoo yao, akaanza kusema Wanga, akaitika mpaka akaielezea mpaka akafika kwa Jaramogi, akasema hiyo ingine mnajua. Ya pili pia akachukua nafasi akaomba mamake radhi kwamba nipatie dakika zako kama kidogo tu, nichukue hapa nipatie na rafiki yangu asalimie tu watu, akaita Babu Owino. Kwa hizi vitu viwili inakupatia Winnie kama mtu aina gani?
Winnie ni mwanasiasa na Winnie amefundishwa na baba yake siasa na nilikwambia jamii ya Jaramogi, jamii ya Raila Odinga bado wajazungumza, bado wanaomboleza baba yao. Na juzi nilikwambia nimekuwa nikifuatilia sana Winnie katika social media post zake zile amekuwa akiweka. Mara mingi amekuwa akionyesha mavazi zake na raha na nini na ana impression ile anataka create kwa followers wake. Ni anataka kuwaambia niko tulieni, unaona, tulieni tu, mimi niko. Na Winnie anajua ya kuwa anapendwa na vijana wengi, na pia wafuasi wa baba yake wanamwangalia ya kuwa uongozi yuko katika ndani ya Winnie kama mtoto wa Raila. Ile uongozi wa Raila na ile ushupavu wa Raila iko katika ndani ya Winnie.
Mm.
So yeye kualika Babu
Okay. Mzalendo, jaribu kufanya jambo. Naona kama unakatika
ni
katika. Endelea.
mi niko sawa.
Mm.
Winnie anawaambia nimefika na niko tayari na mtupatie nafasi
Mhm.
na kwa hiyo nafasi mtuonyeshe njia.
Mhm.
Hiyo ndio ilikuwa maneno yake. Na kwa hiyo nafasi pia kuna watu wale hamuwapendi kama
Mhm.
vijana.
Mhm.
Mmoja wao amekaa pale na ni rafiki yangu anaitwa Babu Owino.
Mhm.
Babu ndo mnamjua Babu? Ni rafiki yangu. Babu Owino alikuwa amekatazwa kuingia katika mlango
Mm.
ama kwa jukwaa. Alikuwa amekatazwa hapo awali. Alinyimwa hata nafasi ya kuongea. Na hiyo yote ilikuwa by design that Babu wasiongee kwa sababu ya ile ubabe. Unaona ile kitu tulikuwa tunaongea pale, ubabe katika matanga.
Mm.
Ubabe katika matanga. So ubabe katika matanga ni ule mtu atapatiwa microphone na umati iende wild. Huyo ndio watu wataongea juu yake katika hiyo matanga. So yes.
Mm. Mzalendo,
Mm.
pole sana kwa kukatisha wewe. Nataka kukurudisha nyuma,
Mm.
tukiongelea Babu Owino. Kwa sababu unaona kwamba Babu Owino hata katika mazungumzo yake mengi tu ashazungumza. Inaonekana ni kwamba mtu ambaye alifanya kazi ama mtu ambaye aliwekeza sana katika chama cha ODM na hapati shukrani. Unapata mara mingi huwa anafinywa. Kulingana na hata venye wewe umesema. Na ukipata Winnie anasema kwamba ni rafiki yangu na ni wetu. Na hii nafasi inatokea baada ya Millie Odhiambo kuita tu jina yake, kwa sababu pahali ilishafika inamaanisha tushaanza kufika kiwango cha juu. Kulingana tukafika pale kwa Ida. Na sasa ndio hapo sasa Babu anakuja anawekwa na Winnie anakuja anamuita na anamwambia salimia ukumbi. Inadhani alikuwa anatuma ujumbe gani kwa wale ambao labda hawataki huyu kijana, ama wale ambao wanaona kwamba huyu kijana labda ako na nia yake yenye sisi tutakuwa tunafurahia, kwa sababu mara mingi kuna vitu vingi ambapo zimeandikwa juu yake, hata inasema kwamba hakukuwa anaheshimu baba. Na sasa kauli hii leo imetengwa. Kauli hii leo Winnie ameipatia jibu, akamwambia rafiki yangu na ni moja wetu.
Winnie alitumia jukwaa vizuri sana.
Mm.
Kwanza aliaddress baba yake Oburu Odinga, his uncle,
Mm.
indirectly. Akawamwambia, unajua sisi vijana tumefika na wakati ni wetu. Ile kitu tunataka kwa nyinyi ni mtuonyeshe njia. Orengo
Mm.
pia kuamka akasema vijana ni wakati wa kupatiwa nafasi, na kama hiyo nafasi haitapatikana ndani ya chama cha ODM, basi vijana watatafuta nafasi nje ya ODM. Ile wanawambia nyinyi wazee, kama mnataka hii chama ikuwe ni yenyu, basi itakuwa ni yenyu. Lakini Winnie anasema yes, hii chama ni ya baba yangu, na kama ni ya baba yangu pia mimi niko na usemi. Niko na usemi. Na alisema akasema alianza huko Mombasa, akamwambia kuna watu wanauza chama, wako na sisi hapa, lakini usiku wako na Bwana Ruto wakiuza chama. Kuna wakati pia akasema, mimi Junet hata sitaki uniongeleshe. Na ukaangalia kwa hizi mikakati yote rafiki wa Raila karibu ama wa karibu sana, ule mouthpiece wa Raila Odinga alikuwa ni Junet Mohamed. Ako wapi? Mbona mjiulizi huyu jamaa yuko wapi? Haonekani kwa hizi hafla za chama cha ODM. Anaonekana mara moja. Haya, pia kuna wale watu kama Wasifuna, wale walikuwa wanaweza soma siasa. Na wacha nikurudishe nyuma brother Ben kidogo. Huyu Babu Owino msimuone hivyo. Babu Owino wakishindwa uchaguzi na Bwana Ruto, alitoa press conference, akahojiwa, akaambiwa, akaulizwa mlishindwaje hii kura? Anasema hii kitu ilipangwa kitambo sana. Wewe nielezee ni aje, hata nyi wengi mliona hiyo conference. Nielezee ni aje Uhuru Kenyatta walikosana na Ruto, walikosana sababu gani? Hebu kama uko kule nyumbani unaweza niambia Uhuru na Ruto walikosana sababu gani? Alafu tukirudi hapa uniambie kwa nini unadhani Bwana Ruto alikosana na bwana Bwana Gachagua. Uniambie ni sababu gani Ruto wamekosana na Gachagua, na ili hali ukae ukijua Gachagua alikuwa amesimamia Mlima Kenya. Hiyo ndio ukabila ilikuwa hapo mwanzoni. Wewe simama huko kwa mlima kwa Kikuyu, leta kura zao na tufanye kazi pamoja. Alafu baadaye unasikia huyu jamaa tumekosana na yeye juu ya ukabila. So kuna mambo mingi kwa hii siasa ile, msidanganywe tu na smoke screen. Kuna undani wa siasa ile amjui, na mtakuja kujua pale mbele.
Okay. Na sasa kulingana na kauli ya Winnie sana sana kwa Babu, kwa sababu hii ilikuwa ni kitu kikubwa sana, naweza sema kwa Babu, kwa sababu hii ilikuwa wakati ambapo Mama Ida mwenyewe ndiye alikuwa anafaa aongee, na kwa wakati huo Winnie akaomba ruhusa kwa mama yake, nipatie. Ukiangalia sasa siasa ya Babu, na hapo hata awali ukienda katika mitandao ya jamii, kuna maandishi amesema pale kwamba walikataa nisiongee, lakini wananchi wakaamua. Na haya maneno yake ama yale amechapisha pale, mimi naona kwamba alikuwa analenga sana Millie Odhiambo, kwa sababu Millie Odhiambo ndiye alipatiwa ile jukumu ya kualika kwa ile kiwango wale wabunge ambao walikuwepo. Hiyo ni kama amerusha dongo kule. Lakini sasa kwa siasa ya Babu na kwa ODM kama chama, ni taarifa gani labda Winnie anawaambia?
Asi vile tu nilikuelezea hapo awali that Winnie anawaambia au sisi kama vijana tutaungana na watu kama like-minded, watu kama Babu Owino. Nyinyi wengine you are not like-minded leaders. Sera zenyu na zetu ni tofauti sana. Sisi kama vijana kuna vitu tunaangalia, ama viongozi wa kesho kuna vitu tunaangalia, lakini hatuioni kwa Gladys Wanga, hatuioni kwa Millie Mabona, tunaiona kwa viongozi wengine kama Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, James Orengo, Caleb Amisi, Naweza wataja wengi sana wale wanaangalia siasa kwa njia tofauti.
Okay. Asante sana. Na wacha tukuje kwa Winnie kwa sababu kuna jambo hujagusia hapo. Nilikuuliza tu, Winnie kupatiana taarifa ama kupatiana hadithi fupi, ukoo yao, na unajua ukiangalia siasa za Raila sana sana ikiwa eneo la Luo Nyanza, akienda kwa matanga utapata kwamba hivyo venye Winnie alikuwa anasema kwamba alikuwa amependa kutoa hiyo hadithi ya ukoo, na tunaona
Winnie
Winnie pia yuko hapo. Inamaanisha nini?
nilikuwa nimesahau.
Eh,
Winnie kuleta hiyo narrative ya yeye anajua ukoo ya jamii ya Wajaluo na
mm,
anaangalia ya kuwa watamuunga mkono.
mm,
Alienda mpaka kule chini kabisa, akafika kwa Raila Odinga kwa Jaramogi, akasema hiyo ingine yote nyinyi mnajua. Baada ya
mnajua.
Jaramogi baada ya Raila Odinga
Mhm,
mujijazie.
mm,
Unanielewa? So
ah,
aliwacha hiyo blank na akaacha question mark, mujizazie
mm,
hiyo ukoo hiyo, na akasema hiyo familia yao ilikuwa ni ya royalty.
mm,
Mm. So hiyo vitu yote alisema pale ni kuangalia siasa yake huko mbele,
mm,
na anawakumbusha tu. Baba
mm,
yangu alikuwa anasema hizi vitu, hata mimi naweza
mm,
zisema. So nikizisema musikae musione ni kama sijui ukoo na mali tunaelekea.
mm,
Eh? Najua pale tulianzia na mali tunaenda. Kama tulitoka huko Southern Sudan vile huyu jamaa Winnie was grounding herself and starting with a joke from Southern Sudan. Yani alikuwa anawaambia exactly,
mm,
Dan. Alikuwa anawaambia mimi najua hiyo ukoo wangu.
mm,
Nimefundishwa na baba yangu.
mm,
Nimekuwa na yeye kwa hii siasa. Na
mm.
pale amewachia, mimi nitachukulia hapo kuendelea
Mbele.
mbele.
Asante sana mzalendo kwa hayo. Pia nashukuru Father Dan, pia anatuelezea hapo vizuri sana juu ya mwanadada Winnie Odinga ambaye naweza sema kwamba anashangaza wengi, na nadhani pia atakuwa miiba kwa wanasiasa wengi wa ODM. Utapata kwamba naamini kwa siku zijazo itakuwa ni nadra sana yeye kupatiwa nafasi, kwa sababu labda matamshi ambayo anatoa haiendani ama haiambatani na yale fikra na mawazo ya wale mavigogo ambao, ama tuseme kwamba wale umri wao umeenda sana katika chama. Atakuwa anazungumza kinyume na matarajio yao, na itakuwa si kitu ambacho itakuwa ni vyema kwao. Utapata kwamba, kwa sababu unajua hapa siasa kumejawa na fitina na unasema ubinafsi. Ukiona kama mtu anasema vitu ambazo anapata kupata uungwaji mkono sana sana kwa vijana, utasema hapana, huyu lazima tumfatie mbinu ya kuua ama kufanya hiyo maarufu yake iende chini. Mzalendo, jambo la pili ambao pia tunataka tuzungumzie, nataka unipatie kwa undani zaidi. Seneta wa Homa Bay alisema jambo ambalo wengi hawajawahi sema, kwa sababu tangu baba azikwe ama tangu baba afariki apatiwe heshima zake za mwisho, kila kiongozi amekuwa akisema yote yenye baba alimwambia. Tumeona wengi, baba aliniambia tubaki hivi, baba alisema tubaki kwa broad based government, baba alisema. Lakini Otieno akauliza Kalonzo, mbona yeye asiseme kenye baba alimwambia? Ama ni mpango gani ambao walikuwa nayo na baba? Na Kalonzo pia akamjibu kwa usomi mkubwa, mi naweza sema hivyo, kama mwanasiasa mkongwe, unaona. Unadhani Kajwang' alikuwa anatafuta jambo gani kutoka kwa Kalonzo? Ama alikuwa anatuma ujumbe gani kwa watu ambao walikuwa pale kwa msiba, wakati wa hafla hiyo ya kupeana heshima za mwisho, na hata wale wanasiasa ambao hawakukuwa pale, kwa sababu wamesema wanampenda, lakini urafiki wake ambao wako nao na wengine. Nadhani ulisikia hapo. Hebu hapo wewe unaweza sema aje?
Kajwang', mimi kwanza Kajwang' simpendi sana, pole sana.
Oh.
Huyo ndio kiongozi ambao naona amefanya kazi duni kabisa kwa
Mm,
wakaaji wa Homa Bay.
mm,
Wakati wa Awiti and now wakati wa Gladys Wanga.
mm,
Kuna ufisadi ambao inaendelea pale na azungumzii
mm,
vyema wakati anapoalika au viongozi wa kutoka Nyanza, kwa sababu yeye ni mwanachama wa ODM na wengi wao kama huyo ni chairman wake,
mm,
hawawezi ku-investigate chairman wake kabisa. So kuna hii siasa, kuna shida mingi sana katika eh, hii au viongozi ambao wameshikilia viti kubwa kwa chama,
mm,
na wakienda pale Senate wanahojiwa na memba wa chama yao.
mm,
Katika huyo memba hana kiti yoyote kwa chama, lakini saa hii unataka ahoji chairman wa chama yake.
mm,
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But
mm,
anyway, wacha turudi kwa bwana Kajwang'. Bwana Kajwang' amesoma siasa, anaweza jua watu wanataka kusema nini. Amesoma ground, au ameanza kujua ground ni moto, na ni moto sana. Ni moto sana kwa wanasiasa wale wafanye kazi kwa wananchi, wanasiasa wale pale bungeni wamezembea. Na yeye kuuliza Kalonzo baba alimwambia nini,
mm,
ni kuanza kutrigger ile inaitwa conversation that alikuwa anaambia Kalonzo, wewe bwana, mbona unanyamaza? Na Raila alikuwa ni shabiki wako, Raila alikuwa ni rafiki yako. Kuna vitu mmeambiana na Raila Odinga, mbona utuambii kama jamii ya Wajaluo? Ndio posa pia sisi tuangalie kama tutakufuata.
mm,
So hiyo ilikuwa ni bait ile alitumiwa, alikuwa anaambia Kalonzo,
mhm,
usiogope, uko na nafasi ya kuelezea vile Raila Odinga alikuambia, hata kama ni uongo,
mhm,
wewe kuja utuambie alikuambia hivi, sisi wenyewe we will judge whether to follow you or not. So that was a political statement by Senator Kajwang', and it was very tactical, such that ataki kuumiza hii base ya William Ruto, na pia
mm,
hataki kukera William Ruto, na pia hataki kukera wale viongozi wa broad based, wale wanafuata bwana Ruto, na wale
mm.
wameajiriwa na bwana Ruto. So it was a balance. Yeah.
Okay. Ndio sasa, at I think at Kajwang' was trying to tell Kalonzo to distance himself from Rigathi Gachagua who he hates. Ni kweli, kwa sababu alisema shida tu wanampenda, lakini shida tu ni wale marafiki zake. Lakini kuna marafiki wa Kalonzo ambao wako nayo saizi, ni kwamba Rigathi Gachagua yumo pale, Matiang'i, tuko pamoja pia na Eugene Wamalwa ambayo pia alikuwa na na Kalonzo pale. Na ukiangalia, hebu tuangalie Kalonzo Musyoka kidogo, kwa sababu unajua Kalonzo Musyoka ni mwanasiasa ambaye kwa saizi ako katika naweza sema kwamba ako katika pahali pazuri. Kwanza anasema kwamba yeye ako na nafasi mzuri kukuwa rais, kwa sababu kumbuka Kalonzo anasikilizana vyema na mandugu zetu kutoka pale Mlima Kenya. Vile vile anasikilizana na wandugu zetu kutoka Lake Region. Yuko katikati, yumo tu hapo katikati. Inamaanisha pande zote mbili ako sawa kulingana na venye mimi naiona siasa. Ni mtu ambaye alijitolea karibu kama miaka 15 kama anapatiana Raila uungaji wa mkono. Vile vile Ruto pia naona
jamii bana Ben, jamii Wajaluo hawana shukrani kabisa.
Unasema hawana nini?
Hawana shukrani, hawana shukrani kabisa kwa Kalonzo Musyoka, hawana kabisa. Na Kalonzo hata hafai kuwanaambia ati tafadhali nipigieni kura. Huyu jamaa ni mambo tu ya kutumia. Kuna kitu inaitwa decency and honesty in politics, although it is very very rare to find an honest politician, but there is just some decency. Yeah, to ask for somebody like Kalonzo Musyoka and even to humiliate him to an extent that the last time the Luo community chose Martha Karua, uh, and they forgot about Kalonzo, mpaka wanampeleka interview ati interview ya deputy president wa Raila Odinga, Kalonzo anapelekwa interview. That was humiliation, and he humbled himself. Na Kalonzo ndiye aingie kwa kampu ya Raila, it was a task, it was a very very big task, na aliingia hapo bila role yoyote, subordinating somebody like Martha Karua, ule ana hata wabunge katika bunge la Kenya. Very miscalculated, an orthodox means of selecting a deputy president. But all this guy chewed an humble pie. He had got the option of supporting William Ruto. Now, I can tell you, if Kalonzo supported William Ruto, he would have been Ruto's running mate. Believe you me, he would have been Ruto's guy. Today, he would have been the deputy president. And waiting to be the president in 2032. Yeah.
Father Dan Askofu anasema hapo nakubaliana na mzalendo. Luo Nyanza na shukrani hapana. Sense of pride girls, majority of them. Na sasa labda kama we unaweza mshauri kama we ni mtu ambaye umepatiwa nafasi ama upate nafasi kuongea na Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, ushauri wako ambao labda unaweza msaidia nayo ama unaweza mshauri ambao inaweza mletea manufaa katika siasa, kulingana na venye umesema kwamba yeye ni mtu mwenye labda aliunga mkono bila kutarajia chochote.
Unajua, Kalonzo has got an age. He comes to this election with almost 40% of sympathy vote. Watu wale wanaona huyu jamaa enyewe, he has been humble, ana dosari mingi. Does Kalonzo akona madosari mingi kweli? Yani mambo ya corruption hata imguzi nini, yeye yuko tu. Now, what marvels me and many other political analysts is how Kalonzo has, with that humility, there is something in him that is unique. He has managed to make sure he has managed to make sure that his Kamba community is united around him. With humility, he has got his Kamba community intact. Governors wote wanatoka kwake huko, na ma MPs, majority of them are from his Wiper party. Yeah, he's not a combatant leader like Raila Odinga or Gachagua or any other leader, and he's not very vocal. You don't see him in presses all the time. but he has managed to put his house in order, and those Kamba people listen to Kalonzo Musyoka, despite uh, having brought zero development during his tenure as
Mm.
vice president in
Yeah.
that region. There is just something unique about Kalonzo Musyoka that the Kamba people like.
Na sasa ukiangalia siasa za Kenya, kwa undani zaidi, kwa sababu unapata kwamba siasa za Kenya zinakuwa ni siasa ambazo zimejawa na maneno, tunasema kwamba maneno machafu, na kuitana majina. Na katika siasa ambayo labda yeye anacheza, unaona kama labda kutakuwepo kwamba upinzani wa pamoja wampatie nafasi kushindana na Rais William Ruto, unaona kwamba ataweza kweli? Kulingana na
Nimekwambia
aina ya siasa ambayo yeye anapiga yani.
shida shida ya upinzani ni sasa wanaweka Kalonzo in a
Mm,
very awkward position,
mm,
in that Ruto is a ruthless politician and a
mhm,
strategist.
mhm,
Yuko mbele yao in terms of strategy, in terms of money, ako mbele yao. Now wewe unakuja late in the game, hamjajipanga mpaka saa hii mkajua presidential candidate wenyu ni nani. Bado
mm.
mko kwa makanisa, mko sijui wapi, bado hamuna hata secretariat ya kurun, hamuna spokesperson wa hii opposition alikuwa ni ule
Mukisa
Mukisa
Kitui,
Kitui.
Daktari Mukisa Kitui.
Hata hajawahi ongea, hata sijui kama alirudi ng'ambo ama yuko Geneva ama yuko pande gani.
Mm,
Another bogus useless guy wamemweka hapo kama spokesperson. This position needed people who are vibrant, people who would be telling people, giving direction of what the opposition is doing and speaking in one voice. But now everybody is Matiangi yuko huko na wakisi wake huko, yeye ameshinda huko na mandizi huko,
mm,
ako huko na gaki sijui ni huko Bone huko kwa kina Alex huko, amekwama huko. Haya, mwingine amekwama na usapere huko Central
mm,
Kenya.
mhm,
So when are they going to go to other communities? When? Not even go to other communities. When are they going to choose their leader?
mm,
Yani mtu mmoja ule, huyu ndio sasa presidential candidate wetu. By the
mm,
time wanamchagua akuwa ametusiwa, akuwa amefanywa
mm,
nini, by the time watu wanaenda kwa ballot, already people are getting used to the presidential candidate wa opposition. But sahii as it is, some people ukiendea huko Central, watu wengine wanadhani Gachagua atakuwa rais.
mm,
The way he talks, he's the one, is the presidential candidate. Haya, ukienda huko sehemu za Kisii, Alex anajua Matiang'i ndio candidate wetu. Haya, ukienda Kisii pengine huko Nyamira, the same
mm,
thing. Hapa Kisii town Maraga ndio wanaongea juu yake. Hmm?
mm,
Hmm?
yep.
So it's crazy. It is crazy. They need to be organized. They need to be
Na
organized in good time.
so like we kwako unaona kwamba ni wapi ambao labda wanafaa waanze nayo, labda watengeneze uh, watengeneze nini? Do you feel
No,
like they
they
should
need to look for a formula of getting their candidate, their presidential candidate, either
mm,
either through a consensus or through the many dialogues that they have with the people,
mhm,
and they decide on who is going to be our flag bearer and who is going to be the deputy president, so that in case there is a fallout, they already know that uh, this guy is not with us, is going to run alone. That is
mm.
very, very important, because 1 year to election is not good enough for them to campaign and beat William Ruto. William Ruto is a step away ahead of them.
And when you talk about resource mobilization and um, uh, where money will play part, especially when it come to that. And you see how President William Ruto in the churches sometimes in a week he donates more than 50 million. That's
Mm.
only on a day, especially in some churches. And you look at opposition, do you see them having such much uh, resource in terms of money to move across the country?
They might not have that kind of resource
Hmm.
to move around Kenya. What is important right now is that they can't uh, match William Ruto's finances or the money that uh, they have stolen in government. They
Hmm.
can't match that. But
Yeah.
what do they really need? What do they really need? Uh, you see, what is there in a presidential campaign? First of all, Ben. First, there is TV adverts, radio, social media, billboards, and things like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
all over the country. Do you
Hmm.
know how much that costs? Give me a figure of putting approximately how much, if you are there, how much do you think it will cost putting billboards across the country?
Can it be over 100 million?
What do you mean 100 million? That is little money.
Mm.
That is peanuts. That is peanuts. Almost 500, almost 500,000
Mm.
USD dollars.
Mm.
Now wakianza kutravel kwenda sijui wapi wapi wapi, eh? It is another expense. Haya, kuna security, kuna staff, kuna logistics zingine kama kuprint ma t-shirts na nini, ma capes na nini,
Mhm.
some other millions zinaenda huko.
Mhm. But
Mm?
now,
And
let,
then the problem is hii pesa inatoka kwa the presidential candidate and maybe the people who are around him, wale wana support. So wale
mhm.
wakichaguana, sasa
Mm.
ndio utapata ule analeta pesa mingi ndio anapata stakes mingi kwa serikali ikifomiwa. Mm?
Mm.
But
Now,
it is a lot of money,
mm,
and they need not to waste time because there's need for strategy, there's a
mhm,
need for uh, there's a need for strategy, then there's a need for messaging.
mm. Now I see Alex is writing this that Macchiadi Ruto can't win elections that are free and fair. So
Yeah.
maybe my question to Alex is, if that is the case, then is there any way or any strategy that opposition, the united opposition, can put in place so that um,
To ensure that elections are free and fair. I don't know what kind of a question Alex is that. You see,
mm,
uh, who controls IBC? Who chooses IBC? It is him. So what Alex is saying in short is that the oppositions have lost the elections. That is
mm,
what he's saying in short.
mm.
So whatever they are doing or whatever we are saying here, it is useless because first of all, it's Ruto who controls IBC.
Now, Mzalendo, you spoke about Matiangi, and you are not um, giving him credit, but we've seen, especially when he's in the top podium, I mean, Matiangi tend to articulate issues very well, and talking about the issues that the real issues that are affecting Kenyans. What, how do you want him to maybe to address the public, or where do you feel that he should be visiting? If not, you've said that he's been in Kisi, but I've seen Matiangi in different parts of the country.
Politics is just not the politics that we are used to
Yeah.
in Kenya.
Mhm.
is not boardroom politics. The
Mm.
politics we are used to is mobilization politics. The politics now has even advanced to goonism.
Gunism.
Yeah, goonism. Now, that is the kind of politics that Kenyans are used to. Now, when you get a group of technocrats or you are addressing like 50 people and articulating, and these people are listening to you,
Mm.
those are those are not necessary. Yes, they will vote for you, but where is the politics in Kenya found?
Mm.
The politics in Kenya is found in funerals, is
Mm.
found in rallies, political rallies, and politics in Kenya is made in the streets
Mhm.
of uh, of Kenya.
Mhm.
In the streets, that is where the politics is made. So this conversation that Matiang'i is having with a group of five or going to some friendly places, he needs to go to places that are very hostile. That is where the politics is, and we see the reaction, and we see what really happens. Matiang'i sijaona amepigwa tear gas. Umeshamwona amepigwa tear gas mahali?
Wakati
Mm?
walikuwa wameenda na anatembea.
Oh, walikuwa wanatembea, pengine hiyo ndio moja amepigwa. Anafaa kupigwa matia gas kadhaa ndio akuwe kiongozi Kenya.
Mhm. So for you, you don't see as right now, you don't see your position, the
No,
election.
if elections are held today, Ben, elections ifanywe sahi,
Mhm.
wakati huu sahi, Ruto will beat the opposition leaders,
Okay.
hands down.
Now, let's come to especially go to Mount Kenya, and we have Jubilee here. That is right now, Matiang'i seems to be the face of Jubilee as we speak. And we have Jubilee, which we know former President Uhuru Muigai.
Jubilee is dead. Jubilee cannot be revived. That is gone. That was a wrong vehicle for Matiang'i. Even to choose Jubilee, that is dead. It's like trying to revive Kanu and going for an election. Jubilee gives us bad memories. It gives us goosebumps. We think about Uhuru. We don't think about Matiang'i as the head of Jubilee. There is nothing in Jubilee. It's just a shell. Yeye na kioni pale. Matiang'i would have come with his own vehicle kutoka huko Kisii, apate support kutoka kina Alex huko, kina Kibagendi huko wamsupport, wakuje na chama ya Wakisii huko ndio waungane na Jubilee. Waachie Kioni Jubilee, waungane na Jubilee, waform an alliance. Moving
What
around
about
with Jubilee is dead.
what about those what about
It's
those
like
from?
telling listen, it's like telling me Matiang'i is the Kanu presidential candidate.
But what is wrong with him being the presidential candidate? Because like by him coming, based on his
I
character,
have not told you, I have not said that there is something wrong with Matiang'i being the presidential candidate.
but
What
you're
I've said
saying
is that
with Jubilee.
the vehicle that is using for to campaign is Jubilee, and that is a wrong party.
Why? What makes you think he's a wrong party?
It is like it's. Let me give you a good example that you will relate to. It is Matiang'i coming with the Kanu and saying that Kanu ni baba na mama na tumpigie kura na chama cha Kanu. We remember the atrocities za Kanu. We remember everything about Kanu. We remember all the wrong things about Jubilee. We remember the wrong things about the Jubilee Party and Uhuru Kenyatta. So there is nothing new that Matiang'i is going to trigger in Jubilee. That after all, most of the MPs in Jubilee have since defected to DCP.
So let's think this way, Mzalendo. You talk about Kanu, as you know very well that the current president was in Kanu. So him coming out of Kanu and coming out of Kanu now is the president with the UDA. What is the difference?
Hmm?
What's
Who?
the difference? The same person,
The who came from where?
current president.
That
He
is a
has the history of Kanu.
metamorphosis. That is the life of. unaona, egg lava pupa and then you get butterfly. That is the metamorphosis of a politician. Alitoka KANU akakuja hapo. KANU is dead. Ruto would not have vied in KANU and won the presidency. You have to look for a vehicle that is new. Every other election here we have got alliances, and alliances are formed, and they coin a name for the alliance. Kulikuwa na Azimio Alliance, kulikuwa na nani, hata Jubilee. Anyway, maybe let me just correct my earlier statement. Jubilee will form alliances with other party, and they will have a name, an
Yes.
alliance, but
Hmm.
it will not run alone because it can't go it alone. It has to merge with the DCP. It has to merge with Wiper to form a government. Now,
Hmm.
by now, they should have known that Matiang'i is our candidate. That is
Hmm.
what I'm saying. By now, they should know that Matiang'i is our candidate. And if they don't know by now that Matiang'i is the candidate for the grand opposition, I don't know how they will be calling themselves.
Hmm.
And they also need to get a name. They also need to get a name. They also need to get an identity. They also need to get colors. There's a lot that goes about. Mm.
Father Dan is saying parties don't make good leaders, but good leaders can clean parties.
There's no cleaning Jubilee bwana. Mbona KANU wajawahi clean mpaka sahii wadhadani?
Mm.
Enda usafishe KANU alafu kuja uniambie vile umefika nayo wapi. Mm.
This is Makiadi. Makiadi amepotea sana. Richard Makiadi. Raila supporters have a soft spot for Kalonzo. The only thing that complicates the matrix is the Murima tribalist. And I told you that. That's what
What?
even what Senator Otieno Kajwang said.
Makiadi, let me answer you. There's no difference between a Raila supporter and a Gachagua supporter, especially those from Luo Nyanza. They're the same.
Why do you say so?
They're all tribalists.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Let me see. Alex anasema you seems to be double-minded, my brother, according to Alex.
I'm not. What is the difference between a Luo supporting Raila Odinga in Luo Nyanza and a Kikuyu supporting Gachagua in Central Province? What is the difference? The only thing that drives them is tribalism. Luo Nation, Kikuyu Nation. What is that? Kamba Nation. All these are tribal. Kisi supporting Matiangi. All that is a tribal driven narratives. There's nothing there. Mm.
Mm. All right. Thank you so much, Mzalendo. And maybe let me go back to your county because like your county seems to be having a lot of conversation even today. Um, there's a meeting that is supposed to take place in Kindu Bay. I don't know whether you're aware of that. And there are those who are saying that there are quite a number of some goons that have been brought all the way from Kisumu to go to Kindu Bay. What is your county thrive on goonism? Why? What is making it to thrive on goonism?
There is the nature of a Luo. There's our nature. There's our nature. There's our attitude. How we look at things. How we
Mm,
react to things. How when I tell you I will beat you, I will definitely do it. It's not a joke. You and I'll. It's not. It's not. We can't negotiate about it.
mm,
You understand? When I tell you Ben,
mm,
mi nitakupiga eh,
mm,
ujue kabla hiyo wadi ndakupiga ishe, mjaluo ashakupiga ngumi. Unanielewa? There is
mm,
the pride of Luo. So that is our nature. There's something that even if you try to correct it, you can't correct it. You can't correct
mm,
it. It's not like they like the aggressive politician like Raila Odinga. You have to have aggression. That is why they find it's difficult to support somebody like Kalonzo, because Kalonzo is a bit timid. He's not aggressive like the leaders they've had before, Jaramogi, the late Tomboya, and now the late Raila Odinga. They like aggression. Look at Babu Owino. They like aggression. Look at Okothobado. Aggression. Look at James Orengo. People
Mhm.
who are aggressive and combative are what the Luo nation like as leaders.
So does it mean that this is something that will not end anytime soon?
No, because we have got children that we give birth to who carry our genes. So this will go from generation to generation. That will not change. I got it from my father. I will get it.
Is there pride in Gunism?
That is, that's what I am telling you. There's no pride in Gunism.
Mm.
Gunism is something uh, that was just developed the other day, and people have embraced it, including the government. So there are goons everywhere, brother Dan. If there are goons everywhere, if you go to your community, politicians are using goons. The youths that are surrounding them, those are goons. So goons are always there to protect the politician and to intimidate your opponent in politics today.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, Mzalendo, for being very robust with us today, telling us that there's no difference between the brothers from Luos and the one from.
Tell
Uh,
me the difference. Tell me the difference. There's no difference.
mm, Let me see what Makedi is saying here for us. The truth is, Ruto does not need an election in 2027 for second term. This thing is gone. We have to wait until 2032.
Matiang'i is right. Matiang'i, I mean, we are wasting a lot of time. When I see people wasting time talking about Sijui, and then Makiadi, look at Gashagu. I've asked Makiadi, probably is the one who can answer this question.
Yeah,
Makiadi, do you think that Gashagua is a project of William Ruto? If you answer that question, you are a genius. And if and why and the reason why eh, I feel the reason why you feel that is a project of William Ruto,
to
and
me, I don't.
why and why and the reason why Ruto was a project of Uhuru Kenyatta.
I don't think that Gachagua can be a project of President William Ruto,
Why?
and the reason is,
Mm.
you know, if you look at the disagreement that was between President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and President William Ruto, they had their differences, but Uhuru Kenyatta did not want to kill Ruto's career.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Mhm.
When Gachagua says that wewe bwana Ruto ukitaka kuingia
Mm.
mlima Kenya,
Mm.
ukitaka kuingia mlima Kenya, tafadhali
Mm.
mm,
Mm.
tafadhali lazima unipitie kwanza, lazima uongee na mimi kwanza. Anamaanisha nini?
Si anamaanisha kwamba Central Kenya ni yake. Wacha, let me send a link to Makiadi. Let me put it over there so that Makiadi could come in. I don't know. So at least even Alex can come and share with us. Mm, I don't think so, because like if he was the project of
We nimekwambia
president could
huyu
have not
jamaa
impeached him.
mi hata uniconvince namna gani. Walikosana wapi? Na uniambie reason walikosana mpaka
Mm.
waachane. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Hizo ni pang'ang'a tu. If you don't believe
Walikosana.
me,
That's why
eh,
he was impeached.
walikosana. Mm. Na walikosana yeye ni wapi? Walikosana sababu ya nini? Brother Ben, walikosana sababu ya nini?
Gachagua has always told you the reason why. Makiadi, that is the link. Now come and at least share with us and convince us why you
Hakuna
think this is
kukosana.
gone. Mm. But now, where do we put the the votes for the millennials and the Gen Z?
The millennials and the Gen Zs are scattered. Alex is a boomer ama yeye yuko pande yeye hata bado anatafuta hata sijui yuko pande gani. Yeye 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 sijui kama yuko ODM ama yuko Jubilee ama yuko yeye yuko tu hapo, yeye bado yeye ni bendera. Yeye pale atapelekwa hivi ataenda, pale atapelekwa hivi ataenda, but
Mm.
ukweli ni
Mm.
ukweli wa mambo ni hivi. Gen Zs are scattered. There are those who are Gen Zs who are going to vote for William Samoei Ruto. There are just Gen Zs who are going to vote for the opposition. There are just the Gen Zs who are going to vote for one of their own. Ukai kujua Boniface Mwangi pia yuko kwa debe. Another joker there called Boniface Mwangi ako kwa debe, anataka kuwa rais.
Si alikuwa anaitisha pesa ya campaign.
Na hao vijana unajua hao wanataka pesa kwa sababu pesa is the main thing, na hawana hiyo pesa. Join
Mm.
watu wale wako na pesa, alafu uingie bunge ama uingie MCA ama uingie nini, ujaribu kubadilisha vitu. Lakini huwezi toka tu ukuwe rais na una hela. Nani utakampeni aje? Gari sijui lazima ziweke mafuta. Ndege kwanza tulipiga hesabu ya kuchukua tu ndege for 2 hours, it's how many millions? Sijui ni 400 300 million. Ukichukua ndege ya all day,
But
ukichukua
mzalendo,
ndege ya all day ni pesa ngapi? A billion.
wacha nikuulize swali, kama tuseme kwamba hawa mavijana ya kizazi kipya na hawa millennials, kama wanajua labda vitu ambazo hawa wanataka ama aina ya kiongozi ambao wanataka, watahitaji fedha kweli? Pesa wanaweza chukua, lakini wanaweza piga kura
You know, I
kwa
think I think what happened to these young people, they were intimidated and to submission, because I don't
mm,
see any of them. I don't see the vocal Anifa. I don't see that group. I don't see the kind of unity that they used to have. I see them scattered. Kuna wale wako kwa DCP, kuna huyu Njeri Kaiga
mm.
ako kwa DCP ania kiti ya women rep huko ni Nyandarua ama ni wapi mahali huko, but
Nadhani Nyandarua.
kuna huyu anaitwaje, Kasamuel maybe waiting for a nomination or anataka kukuwa senator wa Nairobi. Wako scattered tu namna hiyo, they are everywhere but scattered in political parties because
We
they
have
don't have
friends,
a vehicle, they don't have a leader. That's the problem of lacking a leader.
we
Now
have
you see
Fanya
them
Mambo Africa. Fanya Mambo Africa is also with the DCP.
afanya
Fanya Mambo.
Fanya mambo wa Afrika alikuwa namba 6 MCA huko Gadagoreti. Kuna value anaongezea DPP. That
Let
is
me
too
see.
much English, too much English, too much
Uh,
English is dangerous.
Brother Benson Media, you can talk about friends' character without offending, but as form of distraction, just the way Gachagua is doing with Ruto.
Exactly, good year, because this I don't with personally, ukiniuliza, I have tried kuangalia hao jamaa walikosania wapi, it is nowhere, but I told you this is a game and it's being played by very intelligent people. They know very well that the ping pong game between the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu community was not
Mm.
going to last for a very long time. So they have to create a distraction. If you can't get this, then you'll not get any politics.
No, Mzalendo, to me, I don't think so.
You will
Especially,
never get that. This is now beyond your pay grade, brother Ben. Hii sasa iko beyond wewe. Hii ni mimi tu ndo naweza jua. Hii ni
mm,
ping pong game, ni kuingiza anaitwaje, this guy professor Kindiki, na Kindiki akishaingia Kindiki, do you know Kindiki, who knows Kindiki's tribe? Kindiki ni mkabila gani?
Kindiki
Unaona
anatoka
unafikiria
Tharaka Nithi huko.
unaona umefikiria mara mbili, yani hiyo kufikiria mara mbili hiyo it fits the bill. Umeanza kufikiria Kindiki anatoka Tharaka. Haya, hawa Tharaka ni Wakikuyu ama ni Wameru ama ni Waembu? Ni wakabila gani hawa watu?
But do you think, because there are people who are saying that in 2027 that President William Ruto will not be going for the bigger tribes, but he will use the power of smaller tribes to win the presidency? Can that one happen?
I told you initially that Ruto is creating a powerful machine beyond 2027. Powerful such that hakuna yeye atakula kwa siasa mpaka wajukuu wake, mpaka ule kijana wake wa matatu waingia kuwe rais. That is the kind of machine that is creating. Is creating a machine that will control Luo Nyanza politics, that will control Kisii politics, that will control central politics, that will control Coast province, that will control every other little part of Kenya, and is strategic and it is lethal, na anaifanya bila kelele. Unaona, anaifanya bila kelele. Angekuwa anaifanya na kelele, watu wangeshashtuka. Yeye asemi ile kitu anafanya, but chini ya maji ile kitu is creating. You see that war in Luo Nyanza, who is it benefiting?
Yeah, the war between Raymond Omolo and Wanga, that's benefiting.
Who is the beneficiary?
The president.
Either way, hata ikienda pande ya Wanga is the beneficiary, ikirudi pande ya Raymond Omolo is the beneficiary.
Because like you see, those who are protesting that Wanga is not respected, they're calling upon the president to make sure. Those who are protesting for Raymond Omolo, all of them are calling the president. So which means
all of them are supporting the president.
All of them are supporting the president. So which means the president is the one benefiting.
So it means that the president does not need either of them. Do you get the point?
But
he's already with the people. Ameshaingia kwa wananchi such that the people are asking the president to come in between and stop the war as their leader.
Alex habari gani?
Alex, hey.
Poa sana brother Benson.
Siku mingi kakangu.
Siku nyingi ndugu yangu.
Asante sana. Hebu tuambie, mzalendo hapa anakejeli mtu kutoka kwenyu huko.
Mzalendo tumemzoea.
Asemage ukweli, si ndio?
Tumemzoea. There are times you don't take him serious. You allow him just aseme imtoke.
Okay, asante sana. Ebu Alex, ebu tuambie kwa maoni yako tu, ukiangalia uchaguzi ambao inakuja miaka ya 2027, tuko na upinzani na tuko na rais, na tunaona kwamba upinzani ni serikali ya badala ambao wanangoja wachukue usukani wakishinda rais, na watu pia wanasema kwamba hawajaweka strategies vizuri ya kushinda. Labda wewe kwako.
I think we need okay, we are the voice of the people.
Yes.
So what we say holds water and has weight. And one way or the other, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we do sway and affect the politics on how our perspective and our views are. And it's always important to put the right perspective so that we allow the voter to understand the current situation of the country. Okay. It hurts me when we say that there is no one who can run and win against Ruto. When you say that, you are being ambiguous but not specific. I would rather an informed individual say, with the current structure and how things are, if they remain status quo, there will be no election. Okay? That makes sense. But to say that Ruto will win election, that is a different thing again. Okay? So there is the winning of election and the announcing of election. Now, if we start from there, then I think we can have a better debate of information and of truth. Now, having said that, what both Makiadi and my brother Mzalendo are saying is the machinery, as rightly put by Mzalendo, by Ruto, is ready for posterity. Okay? Obviously, there is no election. Okay? The people that will pronounce Ruto have already been selected, are in office, and they know their duty. Okay?
Yeah.
But if you look across the country, the reason why, and ask your question, if Ruto understood that nobody is able to win election against him, would you have seen the kind of engagement you will have seen in these by-elections? The corruption, the bribery, the killing, so on and so forth. Would you have seen that magnanimity? No, you will not have seen it. It is said in terms of political capital, more especially finance, this by-election obviously costed personally William Ruto billions of money. And if it is so, why, if there is actually no candidate who will win against him?
I might agree with your argument. At the same time, I might question it, especially based on the pointers, especially when we put our reference on the by-election that has just happened. And this is because before the election, what happened? We talked about the voter bribery, we talk of intimidation, we talk of Goonism that we saw, and all manner of things that if you look at them, they did not give a universal playground for the opposition or for the candidates who are vying. So from that is where now people make the reference and say that if by-election can happen like this, so what about the 2027? So that's why they say that, okay, it's going to win because of that.
You know, Brother Benson, let's not go into philosophical arguments and forget that truth and fact, however much we may try to sugarcoat or put peanut and butter between a sandwich, the truth will always be the truth. In fact, you cannot defend the truth. Once you start defending the truth, you degenerate it or you dilute it. The truth is, in these by-elections, if you look at Malava and Osombere, they were supposed to be the start of the political death of William Samoei Ruto and UDA. And they had to do everything in their capacity for perspective and optics, okay, to make sure that does not happen. Which actually, if I was in the government and knowing the ratings, the current true ratings, Kenya is a very funny country, and sometimes it does reveal its own insidious nature over time. If you look at the book written by the former IEBC commissioner, which I think you've not read, or even Mzalenda has read, I read that book like 10 times. The other day I saw Oswago, the Chicken Gate guy, also give an elaborate interview. And all these things, when you connect the dots to form the line, they completely tell you one thing or the other. Oswago was claiming 2013 was never rigged because he was the CEO, because he understands the repercussions of it. But then he boldly says other elections have been stolen and they've never been what? So the thing is this. William Samoe understands the true nature of pulling and where he is gauged when it comes to favorability and also electability in 2027, which actually, as you know and I know, he does not get 50 plus 1. Okay, you know that. But for optics, okay, he is doing everything in his capacity to make sure that he gets up there. But the bigger question is this, and which by now we must direct our narrative to. What can we do as of now? Do we have the numbers? Yes, we have the numbers. Can we beat Ruto down, pants down? Yes, we can. What is coming between us and the presidency? Raila, as powerful as he was, failed to secure the announcement of his presidency. One of the most hurting documentaries sometimes I watch, I don't know if you have watched it, Brother Benson, which actually we need to sensitize our people, is when Raila says in 2007, he won the election, but ABCD happened. Then he went to a certain hotel that he was called there. As he was waiting, the owner of Royal Media Service came in and told him, congratulations, you have won the election. But, okay, they told him they cannot announce him. So he has two options, do this and do this, okay? That's in document Raila himself saying. So which tells us and informs us that the people that announce the elections are quite vital. And if that is what is going to happen again, then let us already resign and say, okay, hii imekwenda, imeisha. Because if you look at the boldness of our neighbors now, and that will come to us, and it's going to haunt us more. Southern Sudan, the former deputy president, Maria Machar, he's in. Ukiangalia Bisinje is in. Ukiangalia Uganda, Tanzania is in prison or they are jailed. Ukiangalia the opponents of Kagame and Burundi, they are all. But Kenya, we are a little bit blessed or lucky we are not there. But the main point is how the IEBC or the Electoral Commission of Tanzania went overboard to say that a presidential candidate got 97, the boldness to even declare a person by 97%. That passes chills, okay? And tells you that, look, these electoral bodies that we are believing in, obviously, we are making a very huge mistake. Now, if we say 2002 was the only election that was free and fair, then we need to go back and understand that what made it to be free and fair. Then we will bring out the historicity of what? IPPG and what precipitated and the argument that they had in parliament to form a neutral electoral body that was able to oversee the electoral process and finally declaring the right candidate. Do we have those things at place at this particular time? No, because if you look at it, Brother Benson, we are even in a more worse state. Remember, we have a president who has completely taken down every institution that you could go to that is supposed to cushion, okay, or take power out of him. He has changed his deputy president, and now we have a puppet. Okay, he has changed the military man. Now we have his puppet. He has changed, or he has altered the entire police force. Now we have his. He has done parliament to become the legislative to become his own tool. Okay, so anything that can be voted or should be voted, it has to be voted because he says so. So when you look at the current political situation and the powers, you know, Ruto is no longer president. It's like a monarch, okay? It's like a king. Then do you expect us to go to election and to be announced whether we win or not? Obviously, we are going to win. Trust me. Or the opposition, not we, because Mzalendo is not part of us. So when I say we, I think it is wrong. So Mzalendo, every time we say Ruto will win, even one of our
Oh my God.
in the comment section says every time we say
Alex,
Ruto will win, Mzalendo becomes very happy. Now, let me say,
Why are you saying I'm not one of you? I only hate disorganization. I like people who are organized. I am just one of you. It's only that you are disorganized in what you are doing. That's why I'm saying that you're going to be beaten hands down. If I go down memory lane,
and again you have proved that you are not one of us when you are saying we are going to be beaten. We are going to be beaten hands down.
I've told you, if elections were held today, the opposition are going to be beaten hands down. All right.
Okay, let me finish my point. I'm coming there.
Yes.
So the powers that Ruto holds today, not even Samia Suluhu had them. Okay. Ruto has become more of a monarch than a president. Today, Kenya is, Kenya, we did a democratic election. When Ruto came with Gachagua, we did not run a democratic state. We ran, what can we say, a state that is ran like Iran, that is run by religious leaders. Then now, after he has been taken out, Gachagua, now we are running Kenya as a monarchy. Okay? So the question is, if we allow ourselves to go to election with the current arrangements, then we rather save the taxpayers' money and say, okay, instead of wasting billions of money, like Tanzania decided, instead of us celebrating Independence Day, let's stop celebrating Independence Day, take that money and do something else. So if that is what we are planning, and Brother Benson, nobody is pushing for, and this is where the question of Mr. Mzalendo comes in. Is Gachagua with us or not with us? If Gachagua was with us, there are some critical things that Gachagua needs to come out and apologize. Gachagua was the one who first and foremost said, kura haibiwi hapa Kenya. Secondly, he said, pigeni kura, mwende nyumbani, mi nitachunga. Okay? So that tells you that he believes in a system that steals. Okay? He's not fighting for electoral what? Justice. So if he did not believe in the IBC that was nullified election, IBC that stole election in 2022, how can we continue to have it and yet be confident that we are going to an election? That is why now I believe that Gachagua obviously might be a project or is working towards his own personal ambitions.
But Alex, let me ask you, based on all that you've said, and we go back to the voters, and because the same information that you have and the same analogy that you're giving, partly there's a majority of Kenyans who reason the same and resonate with how you give that analogy. Do you think can reach a point whereby the Kenyans are going to say that enough is enough?
Ruto has tested the water even in the most uncharted places, and he has been able to succeed. Case in place, he took over the leadership of the mountain without the mountain knowing. Let's look at how the metamorphosis. Let me use the word Nani used earlier, which was intentional, mzalendo. The metamorphosis of Mr. Ruto. First of all, he defied Moi while Moi was still alive and took over the rift. Okay? Something that was thought to be impossible. And when he took over, let's see what he did. Because people tend to forget that history. He was able to take the men that were impossible. Let's start with Biwott. Let's go to Henry Koskei. Let's go to Franklin Bed. Let's go. I mean, it's a catalog. Okay? These are people who are part and parcel of a leadership for more than 2 centuries, two decades. But he was able to bring them down. And in that, he built his own team. And today, we have totally new leadership. In where? In the rift. Now, let's see again what he did to the mountain. He took out Kabogo. He took out Kimemia, a person who was a minister for internal security. Then he brought Ichungwa, he brought Ndini Nyoro, Wamatangi, Wamakeki, all this. And when you think Gachagua says he boasts, I'm the king of the mountain, the truth is that in terms of perspective, he is. But legislative and everything, now, let's go now, his target, the final nail. And that is where I agree with Winnie Odinga. People like, and I laugh, people like Umbadi, people like Wandanyi, they think they are going to be part and parcel of the new leadership of the Luo Nyanza that Ruto wants to bring aboard. The answer is no. He has his own, okay? And he's going to sweep all these old leaders totally to the grave as we look in 2027. And he will have taken now 3 regions, okay? Because of him, mchezo tunaendelea kucheza. Now, people are looking and seeing how Ruto actually takes over, but they do nothing. So when I say Ruto has been able to chart his path in uncharted water, it's a scenario of how he creates his own leaders within a community. In the coastal region, it's a gone case. Afadhali, even in Kisi, we are saying kuwa Matiang'i yuko, so on and so forth. But in the coastal region, it's a vacuum that he has already taken. Now, when you say, what will people do? If leaders cannot do anything, what do you expect the people to do?
Okay, now you've talked about the region that is getting it. Now let me come to ODM, because for some good reasons, when you look at the leadership of ODM currently, they still have this like chest thumping, like ODM is the party of the people, give the history how it was formed, and bearing in mind the catalog that you are reading. Are they also reading the same thing, or they are riding in or floating in this water with promises or with the hope that they are headed in a very good direction?
Let me answer that question, not directly, but in 3 minutes. Today, when Beryl was being buried, Ruth said something that will haunt her. He said, "You politicians, you are messing up my sister's funeral. if you know this is what will happen, why won't you come earlier so that your goons will not heckle you? Now, I want to use her words to answer your question. If, first of all, you said something that is not true, that ODM leadership. ODM does not have leadership right now. You need to know that. Okay?
We have Oburu there.
No, those are, somebody has filled a position, not a role. There's a difference between a role and a position. Now, let me answer you. When you see Min Ping come to defend a man that the leader of ODM is one, and the leader of the Odinga family, do you think it is Ida who needs to come to reaffirm that? It tells you there are cracks. Within that crack again, what tells you? You know, I love people who are seeing differently things, but I also saw it differently. Mama brings only two ladies in the front, and that was theatrics. Bibia Junior Kando na Winnie Kando. But basically, she was bringing Winnie, not Bibia, because she didn't want to be seen as propelling disunity within ODM. Then, obviously, it's like they had arranged with Winnie. Obviously, if you saw that. And Winnie gives a host of history of where they came from. And then her thin-veiled veneer was Katawatin, Wangeo Gigi. Okay? Even if we are little or younger, we know these things. And then he finishes with a bombshell that obviously Mama Ida knew. He said, I want to pay tribute to one of my friends. And he singles out Babu Owino. What is she saying? She's saying, I don't regard my uncle as the leader of ODM. The future of ODM lies here. That told you clearly that ODM has no leadership, whether you like it or not. So when you start saying that ODM has leadership, ODM has no leadership right now. ODM is trying to fill positions, but waiting for somebody who will take a mantle and have the real role that you cannot be defended. Oburu as a man will not have been defended by Ida, that the leader of ODM is Oburu Odinga. It looks from outside that there are cracks that forced Mama Ida to come to retaliate that.
Alex, I did not see it in that angle.
Obviously, no. You will not see it that way.
Now,
Alex, you can be my running mate.
Let me answer, Alex.
You'll be my running mate.
On your point, I've learned two things. I've picked two things. One is about the introduction, especially bringing Winnie and the wife to Junior, and also defending Oburu. In real sense, if Oburu is the leader of the Ramogi Oginga Odinga family, he was the person who was supposed to speak, to stamp authority at the homestead as the eldest. But Ida came. Mzalendo, that makes sense.
What makes sense to you?
What
Alex I told you earlier. What my brother Alex has told you, he's just used different words to tell you exactly what I was telling you before. What is different between what Alex told you and what I told you before? There's nothing, because we read from the same political script. Listen, when what Alex didn't tell you is only this part when Winnie Odinga is asking the mom, can I use your time to say this? Can I say it? Is asking, can I say it? Because they had prearranged what they were going to say. Is analogy of the Luo community analyzing where they came from to the last generation, which is Raila's children. He left it there for you to decide who is going to take the mantle beyond Raila Odinga. That was strategic and political. This young kid is talking politics. He's not just talking ordinary politics. He is telling the old guards that give us a chance. My uncle is here, but he's only holding brief. That is what Madam Ida was telling his brother-in-law, his Oburu Odinga, that is holding a brief on behalf of the family, until they decide. And I said this many a few months ago when I told you, wait for Odinga's family to speak. That is what will scatter ODM. That is what will bring that house into order. That will be the voice of the Luo nation. You understand? But now, from tomorrow, what will be making the headlines? People will be fighting Winnie Odinga, because Winnie Odinga is seen as somebody who is leaning towards the opposition and not the broad-based government. She is anti-Wanga, anti-Junet, anti-anything that is broad-based. And that is, she started this conversation in Mombasa when she said that there are some people here, mchana wako na sisi, lakini usiku wanauza chama. Na chama ni ya baba yake, unajua. Chama ni ya baba yake. Chama ni ya whatever you speak with your children, whatever you speak in your house, whether it is politics, your children will speak that language. That is what was in that funeral. They were speaking the language of Raila Odinga direct to the people. The analysis of Winnie Odinga was the analysis of his father. He is telling you, this is what my dad would have done, and I can do it. So give me a chance. And he said that all I need is your guidance as my elders. He is now talking to Oburu Odinga, the father, that give me guidance for me to lead this party. And the people who can lead this party with me is that gentleman who is seated there, who is my friend, Babu Owino. It is simple. There's no rocket science there. There's no rocket science there. It is a simple analysis by Winnie Odinga, and that is where ODM is moving. Now, moving back to William Ruto and his strategy, and this is where where the opposition doesn't get it at all. At all, they don't grasp a thing. Now, my friend Alex here has analyzed for you how Ruto is building a machinery. In politics, you have to have drivers, and Ruto is created something called the broad-based government, of which in Mombasa he has got drivers called Joe. In Homa Bay, Nyanza, he has got a driver called John Mbadi. In the other part of Nyanza, he has got Opio Wandai. In coordinating all these affairs, he has got Raymond Omolo. These are Ruto's political machine. Now, tell me the political machine of Gashagwa in Central. Makia is called Maraga or Matiangi in Kisi, and Kalonzo in Eastern. Kalonzo must be having a few drivers in Eastern, but does he have a driver in Western? Does he have a driver in Central? Does Gachagua have a driver in Kisi and in Nyanza? They all don't. They all don't have. So these are the political machines or the people who are going to drive William Ruto's agenda across the country. I've just talked about the main tribes. Ukienda Northeastern, they are drivers. Kalonzo is the only one who is capable of having these drivers, probably across board. But the rest of the opposition leaders, from Matiangi and everybody else, they don't have this kind of people. That is why I tell my brother Alex, the opposition needs to coalesce around Kalonzo Musyoka and give him that benefit that he is the one who can take on William Samoei Ruto.
And if you saw, that was the main agenda. Even if we had a funeral in in Siaya today, the main agenda politically, if you foresaw it, and the sentiments of the people and how they brought it up. You know, the by-election in Homa Bay revealed a lot. And if you know, people like Kaluma went berserk and they started questioning the arrangement that they have been so defending. Remember the famous evening when he started questioning the UDA, how PDP individual Obado and also Kibero transversing Katipul Kabond and doing what? Campaigning. Until Cheriot had to go the next day to again spin doctor the whole issue to calm. But Ruto has already tested the water in Homa Bay, the Luo Nyanza, and understood that his people like Aroko will be able to deliver come 2027. Now, if that is the case, Mzalendo needs to understand that when you look at the political formation and the so-called drivers that you are saying, the ODM as a part, not as a leadership, as a part, is wary of their affiliation with William Samoei Ruto. The sentiments of people like Orengo and the other leaders yesterday will almost tell you that Kalonzo is a safe pair to them. However, Kalonzo has not done his part very well in transforming the country the way he needs to. And you understand what Ruto has done in terms of the funding of political parties' money. They have not been released intentionally because he fears the political activities that it can cause across the country. If you remember when Baba decided to use his personal money with Edwin Sifuna to go throughout the country to register people in ODM, even when Ruto refused to give them money, it brought chills to Ruto. Ruto really feared that even without money, this man can go throughout. You know, they started from Siaya, they went to Kisii, they went, and, you know, Busia, and, you know, that they finished in Mombasa. That had Baba done one more time, if he had not died up to 2027, I think Ruto will not be anywhere near. Now, while you are saying that, but in my view, I honestly, after the by-election, the Luo Nyanza have started looking at Ruto as a very thin-veiled enemy to them. The problem is, as Gachagua had said earlier, Ruto has a book. When you come next to him, he will make sure you eat with him and he will write down. And every time you want to make noise, somebody like Gladys Wanga has a big problem because Gladys Wanga, it's on the record, amekula pesa ya stadium, amekula pesa ya 2 airports, amekula pesa ya unga, where he lied to us, ametengeneza sijui factory ya unga. So she has to play the song of Ruto no matter
She has
what.
to be in government either way. She's
Okay,
been
in
honored.
either way. And then there was this absurd issue. He believed Baba was what? Immortal. Baba will not die. So she believed the statement of Ruto that the deputy president will be a woman. Remember when Ruto said that during the UDA meeting, that our next deputy is going to be a woman. For a very long time, Gladys Wanga thought she's going to be the deputy president. Okay, so she acted like one before she became one. She has been acting like a deputy president. But the by-elections, the by-election has revealed a lot. Okay, that Ruto does not want to work with ODM. Ruto wants to take over.
Could that
The
one
takeover of ODM has already happened.
Okay.
so remember during the burial, he said that he will not allow anybody to take ODM back to opposition. He will use powers within.
No, he's a member. He's a life member of ODM and a founder member of ODM. He has never ceased to be a member. I am a life member of ODM. I've never ceased to be a life member of ODM. We are all
And
life members of ODM. So hatuendi mahali. Same to William Ruto.
Alex, let me also ask you this: in the event that Ruto becomes president in 2027, and we are looking at accountability and transparency of good governance, do you think the majority of Kenyans can decide to vote good parliamentarians who might go to the parliament, or to make sure that they put the executive on check? Do you think we can get that scenario? So we have a weaker executive so that any bill cannot just pass, or any law that is brought into parliament, not like the parliament we have right now. The worst case scenario.
One of the things that happened in Kenya until today, I cannot believe that it did happen, is when the minority took over the speakership. That must have informed you a lot. Okay, so when you talk about leadership in parliament and performance in parliament, I think with Ruto, I think that is a facade. We are chasing a mirage. Ruto will never allow a responsible speaker like Marende or Lekaparo to oversee parliament, whether you had the best of the best in parliament. Okay, somehow he knows, the threshold under which he will bring them down. So I don't foresee Ruto as a president having an effective parliament. One of the memorandums, if you remember, if you are a good political history, when Ruto came to power, remember the Supreme Court had already discontinued CDF. Now, Ruto comes with the idea of 6 memorandum, and among them, he pegs in NGCDF. So, and he told them, this is a bundle. You vote one out, you vote all of them.
The other one.
You vote all of them in, you get CDF. What happened?
They vote.
All members of parliament did what? So Ruto understand. Look, I think we underestimate Ruto. One thing over and over we have done is to forget Ruto in merits. And let's talk merits, not performance. In merits, he has climbed the ladder from parliamentarian, becoming minister, assistant minister for interior and agriculture, becoming election director in Kanu, overseeing the Jubilee nomination, and eventually becoming the deputy president for 10 years, and now becoming a president 3 years going. That alone has given him a wealth of experience on whether you choose the best of the best parliamentarians. There is, when Ruto says something, sometimes we cajole him and think that he is mad or he's outlandish. He's saying things. When he once told his cabinet that I know more than you, people are just laughing. But iliniuma, but it was true.
It is true. I know more than
So
you in
what
your
I'm
ministry.
saying is, don't be snookered and live in this deep amnesia that the best of the best, even if you were to put Otienda Molo in every constituency and come to parliament and think that Otienda Molo again will not become the speaker. He will choose Wamatangi or Wamakeki to become the speaker, and he will have won. So there is nothing we can do about that. The only thing we can do is how we can totally refuse to go to an election like other countries have done, and refuse the election is not going to be there without election reforms. And when that election reforms, if you heard today what Kalonzo, the most unfortunate statement Kalonzo said today was to talk about the NADCO report. At this point, we know the person that forced Baba to have negotiations and therefore formed the NADCO report, and Baba, being a good politician, understood at that particular time, had he said capital N O to the NADCO negotiation, Kalonzo was on his way out. to Kenya Kwanza government. So what did he do? He reluctantly accepted the negotiation. So Kalonzo was the author of what? The NADCO report. What I've done to the NADCO report, now they are pegging in on the compensation. But the biggest thing that we wanted, we were going, is electoral reforms. Number one, who is speaking about that today? Nobody. So for us to expect with the current situation without electoral reforms, true, that are overhauled, to have an effective parliament, that's a pipe dream.
Do you know why even Raila Odinga will not want electoral reform if you are alive today? It's because all politicians they benefit from an incompetent IBC. They all benefit. They all benefit. If you reform IBC, the politicians will not benefit. So there will be newcomers in politics. But what, Brother Ben, you're forgetting about the parliament and even Alex, is that this is the only parliament where we have the minority working with the majority. Minority leader works with the minority leader to agree in all the bills. All the bills
No,
that are
I
coming.
think you are wrong there. You are wrong
I'm not
there.
wrong. Who is the minority leader? Is Junet?
No, relax. This is not the only parliament we have had. Previously, if we be brutally honest, Jeff Koinange is one person who revealed to us more without actually telling us the more. Now, if you foresaw how Jeff used to have his two-man debate, that was Wednesdays, and I hope Jeff will finally come back to his show. Akileta Sakaja analeta Mtula Kilonzo. Akileta Ahmed Nasir analeta nani? Barak Muluka. Okay? And you could see that pattern. Now, but whenever he will bring Mbadi, he will bring who? Kimani Ichung'wah. The relationship between Kimani Ichung'wah and Mbadi has always been there. And the man called Mbadi was a traitor for a very long time, but we never actually came out to speak about it. So it is not Junet the first person to work with the majority in parliament. Mbadi mastered that art. He did it openly, but we did not have the guts to talk about it, Mr. Mzalendo. But now it is too open that they cannot hide it. But it's an arrangement that had been done over the years, and we kept quiet.
That is prepare. Angela, prepare for another SG in ODM, Lekina Oledima. Kweli.
Unasemaje?
If she's suggesting about Ledama becoming ODM SG.
The worst thing that ODM will do is to take Sifuna. You know, let me use as a religious or a spiritual connotation. When God told the children of Israelites, when they go to a certain war, they should totally eliminate everything. They made a mistake. They left the beautiful women and the fat cows and the gold. And when they came back with the spoils, they were happy. God said, because you have done this, there will be a thorn on your flesh. You will never eliminate them, and they will never eliminate you. Obviously, that's what we see right now in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Let me finish. If they take away Sifuna, ODM will not win even one seat in Nairobi, not even one councillorship, unless Kibra somewhere whereby the word is completely Luonized. Okay? Now, they must look at the political capital of Sifuna as an individual, even in terms of perspective. And the perspective here is leave Sifuna as the SG. if we want to steal the election in Nairobi, we'll say we steal for him to become the senator. Out of the goodwill of him stealing the election, we can now steal members of parliament, the women rep, because it will not be so open. So, and they will make sure, as Sifuna boasts, I got more votes than anybody apart from the president in this republic. So, taking out Sifuna, for me as an individual, I don't know about you, and even the talk about it only deems ODM as a Luo party. Not only as a Luo party, it remains only to be a Siaya party. Because right now, you see when Luo is divided. So we are not even talking about a Luo party. We are talking about a Siaya party. Yeah. So that talk should not even come out of. But that is a talk that UDA loves most. And the people purporting to speak for ODM and who wants Sifuna out conspicuously is UDA. I don't know why. It's Muzalendo type people.
What did you? I knew you'd say something like that to trigger me. But anyway, that is expected of you, Alex. I'm used to you. But let me tell you, what you've said right is the Sifuna personality. The Sifuna personality in Nairobi is huge that ODM cannot replace. That is the problem. That personality is what they need, and that is personality is what scares them. Now you remove Sifuna's personality and inject a personality like Olekina, like you had mentioned. You have killed the morale of the people who
or they bring Makoure.
the party. Or Kasamuel Makoure. You remove Sifuna, and I told Sifuna, don't answer that small boy. Why are you even bothered? That's and Sifuna does not even answer them. He lets you rant, and then in the evening you find him with his tasker. Anakunya pole pole. Life is normal and easy. The Sifuna, what he has built, a personality that he has built from the time he was elected the Nairobi senator is huge. Is not only he doesn't talk to the Luya base. Sifuna talks to Nairobians. He addresses Nairobians. He does not address the Luya like Aladwa, who comes, sisi kama Waluya, sisi kama jamii ya Omlembe. He does not speak that language. He speaks to national politics. So, just as Alex has said, the ODM is being relegated to a regional party that will be controlled by the likes of Gladys Wanga in Omabay. But how do you negotiate? How do I negotiate with Alex when I'm already in his house?
The value itself shall have gone down.
I lose value when I'm already in Alex's house. Ataniambia kama unataka kulala hapa kwa kiti we lala, lakini kabla niingie nimwambie masharti yangu ya kuingia hapa kwako. Alex will tell you, Mzalendo, I really need you to come and visit me, but I've got condition. When I'm coming to visit you, I'll have to get my Martini Rosso on the table, or I'll have to get my Glenfiddich ready when I come to visit you. Also make my bedroom nice, the way Baba's bedroom was made nicely by Oparanya huko in Kakamega. So those are the conditions when I'm coming to visit you. But when I'm already in your house, I have got no say. Ni utajipanga na zile vitu ziko hapo. Na pia Alex akiingia nikiingia kwake na nianze kusema hey, Alex, you have arranged this house, hii kitu inafaa kukaa huku, hii kitu inafaa kukaa huku, na wewe ni mgeni, wewe tu ni mgeni na unapata watu wenye nyumba hapo, I mean, of course they will not be comfortable with you. So ODM with its two CSs, they are acting like now they own the government and the Republic of Kenya. They are the ones who formed the UDA government. So it is shameful. It is.
Did you see the classic response of Orengo to the CS today? You know, That was a thin-veiled attack. He said, remember, this is not the first time we have been in government.
Yes, I noted that.
He told them, look, at the beginning of this nation, at the birth of this nation, we had the deputy presidency, and we had one of the most important dockets, which was the minister for planning. That was Tom Boy. And he went further to tell them the roles that they played. But even though this is not the first time we have been in government or held the CS position, he only failed to also tell them that, he was actually the favorite of Kibaki's cabinet. I hear that, and I'm always told that Kibaki was so fond of Orengo, despite him being on the other side, though he was in the coalition government. So I think, Martha Karua once told anaitwa nani, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta some years ago that he's a political crybaby. And she even went further to say, a little boy who was just discovered that walking naked is cool. It doesn't matter mahali atatolea suruari yake hata kama wageni wako na aanza kutembea tu hivyo, despite of everything. And that is how now Mbadi is behaving. Undanyi, I think, comes a little bit more reserved and moderated when it comes to some things, though his role is sometimes have to defend the government. But I think Mbadi goes too far. And even if people like Zakayo Yugi, Ndolo Aya, and who else, Dalmaso Tieno, who are actually in Kano, they understood that
Robert Uko.
Even if they understood the limits, and they played the politics of the gallery also of what? Of the advancement of their own people. But when you look at Mbadi, and if Mbadi's scenario is very unfortunate. If you remember one time when they asked, why did Baba decide all the cabinet's position and even the leadership change that is coming to parliament to be Luo? Kaluma once said something that still bothers me, said, we never took the docket of the finance. Mbadi is a Bantu. Mbadi is not a Luo. I don't know if you remember that thing.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't even remember that thing.
It comes from Suba.
Yeah.
No,
So
and let me just add something that people don't really know. That the creation of the Suba, the creation of the Suba by Moi, it was a creation. But Moi was getting a steep opposition in Luo Nyanza. So he had to create this tribe called Suba that had an identity that was lost. So he created the Suba and revived it. And to date, they owned that identity. If you ask any of them, including Otieno Kajuang or Mili Mabona, if they can even speak Kisuba for a minute, they wouldn't even know the language. They don't even know the language. It is one of those languages classified under the UN charters as the languages that they want to revive. So Suba was a lost language and a lost tribe until Moi revived it. And when he revived it, you know what he did? He made sure that there is a minister coming from that area. And that minister was called the late Nyakiamo, was the minister coming from Subaland, revived by and he maintained that to get the coordination of Luo Nyanza and especially South Nyanza was coordinated from Nyakiamo's home by the Suba people. So that is how Moi managed the political structure in Luo Nyanza and the greater South Nyanza.
Mzalendo, though I'm not disputing that, but when I look at my history, especially my forefathers, they came from Highland, go the Highland, just adjacent to Rusinga, and they used to speak Suba.
Yeah, but can you speak that language
No,
yourself?
because I was born in Migori. With us, they came all over. They
Can your
migrated to
cousin
Migori.
who is your age mate speak the language
No,
fluently?
even like Sami himself, Sami Wakega, I don't think whether he speaks Suba
They
because
don't
he's a
speak that
cousin
language.
to, he's our
That is
cousin.
my area. They don't. We don't. They don't. My uncle don't speak that language. They have got words, a few words they can utter, but they can't speak the language. That was a
Mm.
creation of President Moi to divide the Luo nation. So he divided them by creating the Suba, and it worked perfectly.
So let me ask you, gentlemen, in the shadow of all this, the way forward, the best way forward for Kenya, if we are looking for a good leadership that is accountable, a good leadership that provide the services that people need, what can be the way forward?
First of all, we need to elect a leader who respects the rule of law and the constitution of Kenya. Meaning that when we elect a president, is working for each and every person, for each and every community, so that this community that, the Luo who are now saying that it is a favor, and it's so annoying when Mbadi is saying it doesn't merit to be the CS for finance. It is a favor that was done to him by done to the community. Yeah, it is not a favor. It is not a favor. It is he qualifies to be in that position, and that is the reason why it is that, and he's not there to serve the Luo community. He's there to serve the people of Kenya as the CS for finance. So we need leaders who look at position as not
Favor?
uh, not favor or enticement to bring votes to the other camp, but to provide services to the people of Kenya, same as to anybody else who is given the opportunity to serve in the cabinet. He serves under the mercy of the president, but he ought to serve the people of Kenya according to the constitution. So it is not a favor for a community to get a position or a tribe to be appointed. It is not a favor. And once we take that direction, then the political class, including the presidency, will use these dockets to entice communities to vote for them, even if they are underperforming. And the community will see that we have been done a favor. We have got a minister so and so in this government, and you know very well that they don't share their pay slip with you. The pay slips, they take them to their children and their wife. So this is something that we need to stop completely, and stop praising such leaders. And when we get a chance, we condemn the act of giving self gratification that, I am working for William Ruto and the Luo community. It is not that way. It is you are working for the people of Kenya.
Alex, what is the best way for us in the worst case scenario?
I will take a different perspective from Zalendo. Totally different perspective. You know, when we have no bankruptcy of leadership at all in that country, in spite and despite of all the challenges and problems that we have had. But we do behave mostly and most communities as if it's either one person or we are dead. For example, we have created a new problem that will be for the future that we are not ready to resolve our pandemic political problems. Let me give you a case scenario. When the mountain still believes in Gachagua, and they believe that Gachagua will be the solution to them, and having known who Gachagua is, they have not even solved their problem yet. Okay? They are not even ready to solve their problem because they don't even see where the problem is.
Mm,
Do you see that?
yeah.
So it must start for us to decide who is our leader. And if we just take any Tom, Dick, and Harry, just because he's able to throw jabs at our enemy, then basically we are not ready to resolve a corporate problem that is not personal. Okay?
Yeah.
So from the current situational ethic that we are in, I don't think Kenyans are ready for change, because when you look at the community leaders from Wamalwa, from Natembea, from Matiang'i, from Kalonzo, from Gashagwa, from Joho, the question that pegs in there, all these people have said, do you think there is change truly in the people that have said there? No, that's a fact. That's a fact. But because now we have an enemy within that is more Nephilic or Goliathized, so we think we can look for any David that is around that who boasts to be a David, without a spiritual stamina, without a leadership stamina, without integrity stamina, without everything. You see, all these people we are towing around, even if we continue saying, I believe, and I totally believe that Matiang'i can transform that country. I totally believe that Kalonzo can win that election. But then again, if we truly were to go to the spirit of, reformation, transformation, and progression of that country, so that we can be another Singapore or better than Singapore, we are not going to see that kind of leadership changes. We are not going to see that economic changes, educational changes, healthcare changes by just changing Ruto to Gachagua. You get it? So
Yeah.
Kenyans need to take a deep breath and ask them, what do they want? Is it ni nyani tunabadilisha ama is the forest? But I don't think Kenyans are ready for that conversation. If a Kikuyu came up here and we started saying that, Gachagua is a wrong person, we are going to fight here so badly. If a Kisi came up here like me and we started saying, like, I almost beat Mr. Mzalendo down there by him bringing the issue of Jubilee, we'll also start making, like, we have some serious structural, foundational issues. And yet we are painting, putting ceiling board and doing solar up here without a foundation and a structure.
And when do you think we are going to get out of this narrative whereby we are being told like our situation is like this because of him? For instance, when maybe you meet my Luo brothers, they might be saying that our situation is like this because of Mr. Gachagua. When we go to Kambani, it will be told because of he's a leader from that particular area. And you find that the majority of voters buy into that. Then when it comes to voting, they vote based on that our situation is going to change if we beat this person.
Have you realized something that sometimes makes you just say, let Ruto continue? Have you gotten to a point whereby personally on your basis, whereby you look at things, you wonder where we are? Have you ever reached that point, Benson? I want you to be honest. Let me be very honest. When I see Gachagua, when I see Muturi, when I see Ndindi Nyoro come, and they are the ones who are telling us how Ruto is a thief. I just say, let him be a thief more, because we told you, but you did not hear us. So they think that their rhetoric, is going to be more eloquent and convincing than that of Baba or Azimio as a whole. Unaelewa? Like, we are in such a bad situation that those who fought for Ruto, nail and tooth, for him to be in the government, today they are the ones who are telling us how this person, those who really did not want this man like Junet, who went, people like Atuoli, Kateni meeting, like Kenyan politics is a sucker. Like, when you hear Atuoli now saying, this guy cannot be taken out, This is the same person who told us that, huyu jamaa atachukua nini? Treasury apeleke kwake. Instead of him capitalizing on what he said before, saying, look at the CDN Bank, what I told you has come to happen. Now he's running from his original statement and telling us how he cannot be taken out. The ones who told us kumi yake na Gachagua kumi, today they are telling us that Ruto is going home. That is the kind of politics that we love in Kenya. And actually it makes people very happy whenever such kind of suckers happen. It's so sweet to the politics of many of us.
I mean,
people don't sit down. People don't sit down and really question themselves. What do we want? If you don't ask the right question, you will not get the right answer. But if you will ask a question that fits you at the moment, you will actually get what you did not expect. Now, the question is, do we really want transformation and a change? If that is what we want, then I don't think Gachagua, Matiang'i, Kalonzo, so on and so on, are going to be what will purport to be our leader, and we should be ashamed by calling them united opposition. These people have never been in opposition. So by just branding them united opposition, these people have never been in opposition. Now, let me clarify my statement. During the NADCO report, if you saw, Kalonzo used to come and go with a car that had green plates. For a long time, I used to ask, the green plates used to be originally for county council when we had the provincial administration. But now they are reserved for the speaker. So Kalonzo was negotiating for us while he acted like the speaker of the National Assembly. Okay? Now, secondly, if you go today by corruption, tunaambiwanga Kalonzo is ni mweupe kama pamba. But you have to remember, half of Karen, in terms of land, is owned by Kalonzo. And then unasema Kalonzo ni mweupe kama pamba. The question is, how did Kalonzo get that land? That's the first thing. Secondly, what is the worth of that land?
Billions.
Obviously, it's billions or going to trillions because it's a huge land. Now, then, where did he get that money to buy that land? Obviously, it's through politics. So somehow we have lesser evil politicians and insidious evil politicians. So we don't look at eliminating evil. We look at choosing lesser evil because we are all evil. Why? Because Kenyans are corrupt. If today we want to say, okay, mzalendo, hata passport aliendea huko Canada ama hapa US, akienda kuipata alitaka within 24 hours na alilipa kitu kidogo ndiye akaipata. So he's a recipient of corruption. So if we want to eliminate corruption, it means we must also eliminate the passport issues, we must eliminate hospital, we must eliminate tax corruption, so on and so forth. Are Kenyans ready for that? Kenyans are not ready. And that is why our proximity to leaders who are corrupt is so close. So Kenya has never wanted your question of better leaders. That has never been the desire of Kenyans. That's a fact. Kenyans have never desired. If you remember what Magufuli did when he totally eliminated corruption, the Tanzania started crying a little bit. Unawacha kidogo ila watu wanakulia. And they truly hated the man because ile kidogo hata hii ilifanya nini? Ilisha. So Kenya is in that situation. People working in the office, accountants, lawyers, who wants to win cases by all necessary means. When they see Martha Karua is going to become the next Minister for Constitutional Affairs, and they know the changes she will bring, they would rather vote for Ruto because those in the judiciary know that the moment Martha Karua becomes the Minister for Justice, they are gone. So Kenya has never desired a true transformational leaders. We only talk about it, but in practicality, we are more comfortable with those who seem to do what actually we subscribe to.
All right, thank you. And this is going to be the last one. Then we can wind up. Maybe I would start with Zalendo. This act that we've always or is always happening in our country, and this is the use of money. Everything that happens, even if you crack a joke on a politician or you make something that kind of like is trending, a politician will call you, then the next thing you are given money. Anything that you do, the money has become everything that we want to do, even if we want to persuade you that we have to give you money. And this is a way to show how generous we are, but in another way, it spoils the country. That money has become everything, everything we do. Remember what happened when the Albert Ojwang died. The only way to slow down that protest was the money that was given. And you saw the other day the father was coming back to Kenyans that he wants justice. There's so many incidences that we've seen the money being given to as a way of appreciation, but not as a way of justice. And this also happened with the panel that the courts just say that it was unconstitutional. But the compensation panel, the courts just say it was unconstitutional. And if you look at it very keenly, what came first was about to compensate without justice. Why do you think we've put payment first or the issue of the money first in a country anytime we deal with things of serious issues? Mzalendo unmute.
Good question. Good question. That why do we deal with money first? First of all, the wheel of justice, it grinds very slowly, or it rotates very, very slowly. By the time you get justice, probably you'll be dead by the time justice is served. So, compensation, why people go for compensation, is an act of it. You cannot compensate life, but it is an act that we did wrong, and take this just as a consolation, but we might not bring back the person who is dead, but the person who killed, let us still go through the court process, which eventually they might not get justice. So there are two things. Sheria inakata pande zote mbili. Inaweza kakukata wewe mwenyewe ule ulipeleka kesi, na pia ule mwingine ikapendelea ule mwingine ule ulikuwa unataka ashtakiwe. So mambo ya sheria, it can go either way. The government can lean towards the accused, and they get away with it. So you might not get anything at the end of the day. When they root for compensation, is that they can push for the money to come out very, very quickly, so that the deceased, he had children, he had a family, and things like that. Their life can still go on even after, as they look for justice. So that is one way to look at it. Now, politics in money is also another thing. Why Kenyan politics is just about money. Campaigns are expensive. If you see the money that was used in these recent campaigns, or no, for only to get, you use 500 million only to get to win by 400 votes, or you use a billion shillings for by elections. Yeah, because the voters expect handouts. Political parties are funded today. And why did they ask for funding? Because they've got activities that they expect to do on the ground, which are very, very minimal, very, very minimal. And some of these activities is to mobilize their people using the same resources. A long time ago, probably Brother Ben, you are not born yet, but maybe Alex was there. Politics was about debate. What Alex and I debate here each and every time. Today, if Alex was to vie for any political seat against Omosh 1 hour, Omosh 1 hour can easily beat him. Why? Why do you think Omosh 1 hour will beat Alex in Jacaranda? And Alex will be wondering, and we will abuse him and insult him that how are you beaten with somebody who has not even gone to school? And they are all members of ODM. It is that sad. It is that sad. It is no longer about policy. It is no longer about what you say, but it is how you how your loyalty is gauged.
Mm.
It is about loyalty and the perception that almost 1 hour his blood and veins run on ODM is different from how people will view Alex, who probably will contribute better in parliament than almost 1 hour or Gaucho. So politics is about the perception, how people look at you nowadays. A long time ago, it was about debate. We would walk on stage, we will try to seduce the people, tell them our policy without giving them handouts. And the people will go out clapping that guy called Alex. He really beat Muzalendo in that debate. That is the guy who is worth being the MP for this area. And Alex will be voted because of one debate that he conducted properly in Nyamira. And that is what made him the MP. So things have changed. We have social media now. We have got goonism, how many goons you can buy in the game. So there is a lot of dynamics in politics that are changing. That if we don't deal with it at this moment, then Kenya will be controlled by political gangs. Yeah, political gangs. A gang of 50 people saying that we will protect candidate X, who is Alex, and we will make sure that he wins this particular seat. And they cause terror and mayhem during election, and they make sure that the IBC guy announces Alex as the MP. Those are political gangs, and they are protected by
Mm.
certain individuals. So we are getting to that stage. So when you see countries like Somalia, Haiti controlled by gangs, it just starts in a small way. When I saw the presidential motorcade being followed by gangs robbing people in the streets of Nairobi, then you wonder: are you in a civilized country or not?
Mhm.
So it is serious. It is serious. There are things that we have to tackle and see them the way it is, and say them. And that is why we don't waste time here to come and enjoy. We love politics. The reason why Alex is here is because he wants to talk the truth. He wants to give civic education to the people. Yeah,
Mm.
we don't here to come here to entertain people. We come here to try and create a balance where we see things going wrong, and that is the reason why we talk politics each and every day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex.
I will answer your question in two parts. The first one I know, the second one remind me money in politics. If I forget, tell me to comment money in politics. The first one, allow me to be elaborate on it. When a leader lacks insight, he regrets when he comes to understand the foresight can only be dictated by the insight. When Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and the other people in his administration foolishly refused to swear in the judges,
Mm.
a lot of people thought, this is the best thing that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has ever done. Maraga pleaded with him. And actually, they withdrew funds, and Maraga, remember, started crying wolf about them not getting security, so on and so forth. But that was a catastrophic mistake that I believe Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta regrets until today. Now, let me explain why it was a great mistake. No sooner than Ruto became the president, immediately he swore in those judges. And Brother Benson, I want you to understand why I'm saying this, because many people still forget that. And it's towards your answer, because a lot of people do not understand what is going on in that country. And before he swore those judges, he had personal talk with them on how they are going to help him on various issues over time. So they became what we call in the US activist judges. Activist judges are the ones here in the US, you take political laguna issues to them so that they can sway their pen on your side, so as you can continue to do that which seemed illegal. Now, when you see that a judge has struck down, there's a background.
That's Mzalendo.
When you see a judge has struck down the compensation, so we are happy that the courts are doing well. Behind the curtain, we don't remember that the judges that Ruto swore in are activist judges that will help him. On the surface, the NADCO report say you need to compensate. On the background, you don't remember that this thing will go to court, and the activist judges are going to exonerate Ruto from giving them money, because Ruto doesn't love giving anybody money. He's not giving doctors, he's not giving teachers. How is he going to give the people who are giving him problems so that he cannot rule in 2027? Do you think he is insane? So, lest we forget that one of the greatest mistakes that Uhuru made was to give a silver platter to Ruto to come to the presidency by having all the judges. Do you remember one single judge really gave Uhuru a problem? And I'm sorry to use this because I forgot her name. She's a lady, but she's an albino lady. I'm sorry for using that name. But that lady single-handedly in Nairobi gave the government of the day problems because she was not an activist judge. So the judiciary was working. So today when you hear that, oh, the courts have done this, the courts have done this, go back to when Ruto was sworn in and see the people that he brought in because they were corrupt. And because they had no chance, they have been given a chance, they have to fulfill the role under which they were given that job. So some of these rulings you see are not like they are outlandish rulings. No, these are arrangements. My friend, these are arrangements. And failure for us to see activism in the judiciary will always put us in a bad test. The people who struck down the BBI, those were activist judges. And you have seen how activist judgism actually blocked Uhuru in many things, and Uhuru had to do a lot of things with executive order. It's only that we never use that word commonly in our country. Okay, he used iron fist to rule the country because the courts became what? The blocking for him. But for Ruto, the courts have been smooth sailing. They act like they are blocking him. Then when the second ruling come in, he gets it as if it's a well-oiled machine. So one of the silver platters that we gave Ruto, and that is something that we need to discuss over and over, are these activist judges that come in to save him. If Ruto could not give money or cannot give money to teachers, to doctors, to people who are progressive in this country, how is he going to give money, compensate people who wanted him to go? You think Ruto is mad? I think that is where you people forget. Now, let me go to the second one. I still remember it: money and politics. This has a deep history of election. In 1992, Moi realized that, and as I always remind people, there are two kinds of pools. Tedman was the original pools that were political, that would be allowed to be aired on TV and also written down on our news dailies. And it became obvious that, there were pollsters all over the world, and Kenya allowed that in the first time openly. However, the military pools for intelligence have always been there. Any military will take polls to show the popularity of a president. In 1992, when the polls were taken, we realized that Moi was not going to take power. And the biggest financial haze of our time happened in 1992 when the Goldenberg scandal, which still haunts Kamlesh Patni. That is when we set the first loose cannon, that we left the train without brakes. And I don't know when we will ever have that brake again. We started what we call commercializing our politics. Okay? That is when we came out, that money became so useless to a point that going there and, that time, the pound, which was 20 shillings, the pound came out, 20 shillings came to be called the pound because for a very long time, one British pound was 20 Kenya shillings for the longest. So the most popular money in 1992, Nile Kobole, the 5 shilling and the 20 note. But when bribing NMA started, they needed a big bill to make it happen. And they came up with the 500 note. And we started the journey of commercializing our politics. You hear that?
I hear that.
Now, let me leave it there and come to 2002. When we took it to the scale, when Mamangina went and took money basically from London that they had hoarded there to campaign for his son. Now, 1992 became like a rat against an elephant. So 1992 became the rat. 2002 became the elephant. Oh boy, when we reached 2007, Raila had mastered the art. Raila was going mundu kimundu with the government, with who is who, and with who? The Mount Kenya Mafia. Where he got the money, we don't know. But after Chungwa and Banana, there is no country in Africa that can reach the high stakes of how we campaign. I've been lucky to be in some, the logistics in some of this campaign. One campaign, one rally, if you don't know Mr. Benson, is worth a lot of money because the choppers have to go, and in that chopper, some choppers will have actually to take Baba's car that he trusts. So there are choppers that will transport cars. There are choppers that will transport the carpet and the podium. There are choppers that will transport these people. In one rally, let's say that Baba is coming to Kisii and he's going to have one in Suneka, one in Keroka, one in Nyamira, one in Nyamagwa. He will traverse 4 areas. The logistics of having every one rally is about 2 million. So for him to be in 5 rallies in Kisii, that is 10 million. What am I trying to tell you? We have commercialized and it has become part and parcel of our politics. If you remember a couple of years ago, if you are a good student of politics in this country, McCain came up with what we call finance campaign bill. Because also in this country, there was so much hype, advertisement, okay? And so on, so on and so forth. It had ballooned beyond. And Dodge and McCain and the senator for which those East Coast, came up with the finance campaign whereby they said 2,000 maximum, because it had come to a point, ideas and ideologies and what used to be the blueprints of campaigning had been superseded by lobbyists and what? And money.
And money.
Okay. Now, Kenya has gone even further than that. You see that?
I see.
And that is why I wanted to tell Mr. Mzalendo, you know, when you look at Matiang'i as an individual and when he decides to run on Jubilee, he's a man who has been a minister for internal security. He has a grip of what happens. He told us how Wash is to come out and invade and pollute and forever take the politics of Kenya. So when he's positioning himself to run for presidency, he's not looking at the votes of on. He's looking who is going to bankroll the campaign. So when he goes to Jubilee, he understands he has a better chance of a goodwill of money. So some people are looking at petty things, but when it comes to campaigning, they start saying it's expensive, they don't have money. But then when the money factor comes in, they don't want Matiang'i to go where money is, whereby he can campaign. They want, let him form his own party. His own party he can form, but who's going to campaign? Who's going to bankroll it? Okay? So that begs the question, because Ruto already has the resources. You get that? So money and politics is not the only problem, that it's a global phenomenon. In fact, I was reading a paper which was mind-blowing on how the lobbyists in Japan do their politics. And I was shocked, like, while we do political science, politics in Kenya, the Tiger Asian economies do what we call mechanical engineering politics, whereby they know, you see, when I don't know if you have ever seen Mr. Benson, some weird thing, wakati wanataka kujenga gorofa in Kenya, watakuja waweke mabati round, alafu kutakuwa na kitu like a post outside where there is a gate, where they will say the contractor, what NEMA did, so on and so forth, and there will be a picture of exactly what the structure is going to be when it's finished. So when they are starting to build that thing, first of all, mabati nawekwa, you don't see what is going on. Then you start seeing that building mushroom. Finally, when it will be finished, you look at that building where there was mabati, you never saw anything, with the picture that was drawn before that structure, then you wonder, wow, this is what they said it's going to be. And finally, it has become. So the Tiger Asian economies, that is the kind of politics they play, called mechanical engineering politics. Now, the problem with the political science politics, it is what Mbadi told us once when he went to a certain funeral in Suba. I think that was one of the most consequential speeches of Mbadi in politics, when he said, we cannot keep on playing the politics of rhetorics or populism. I don't know if you remember that statement. We cannot keep on playing the politics of populism, okay? Where we win, but we are not declared, okay? And he went further to convince his people. Kumbe he had already been chosen as a minister for finance. We were just waiting. So,
and where he even went after Orengo, when Orengo criticized him on that, I can remember.
If you remember that. Now, I want to tell you that we are tied to the politics of money, whether we like it or not. We are not going out of it very soon. Even when we knew that that Azimio candidate for governorship was not going to win, but because money talks, the Mount Kenya Mafia dictated the candidate for us, even when we knew he's losing. But because they were the money and money was them, we agreed. Baba agreed to that. That tells you how money is powerful. So Mzalendo should not come here to tell us that Matiang'i should have formed his own party. Mzalendo, I think you are inept and bankrupt of politics when it comes there. And you should go to the nearest nursery school for that political education.
Okay.
I think you mentioned me, and I, ne- I need to put this matter straight and clear so
Yeah.
that you might understand. And you have been guiding the viewers out there about mechanical engineering politics that is practiced in some parts of Asia. This kind of politics are just billionaires, engineers coming together to create a structure that who controls and who controls what in politics, and then they come up
What have I lied?
with that
Exactly, you are
structure.
explaining what I said, that money
Yeah.
talks.
So
It's premeditated. It is
so
not your
ev-
vote. It is what is premeditated.
So it operates like a machine where money flows in different channels, just like in Kenya and even in the US. But let us come to the politics of money in Kenya. What really has happened, because we have a cap, the Election Campaign Act that was passed in 2013 uh, was meant to define how much a candidate should spend, and even the presidential candidates. I think at one point it was 4 point something billion shillings. But what did the members of parliament do to this act? They dropped it. The laws were not enforced by IBC. They failed to enforce the law, and when it was brought back to Parliament again, they said it was too late. They had to go for elections. So this law has never been enforced, and what penalties are they going to give a presidential candidate who has won the election? So some
Mhm.
of these things are actually very irrelevant if they are not enforced properly before somebody wins the election. Because how will you take Ruto, for instance, that he violated election campaign acts in 2022 or in 2027 and is already the president? So we need this. I agree with you that Matiangi has built a machine, blah, blah. He's well coordinated. He knows where to get the funds. But it's not all about that. I told you that election in Kenya is coalitions. Yes, you can have those people who will fund you and all that. And we all agree that there are people out there beyond you and I who know who knows who is going to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya already. They already know it even before we take the vote, that this is the person that they want as the president of Kenya. So how do we really come up and reform so that we ensure that the right candidates are the one who we forward up there, even though we know very well that probably the forces up there might not have decided that it is the right time for Matiangi to take over, because I strongly still believe that elections in Kenya are not really decided by the people, but it's decided by a group of technocrats or probably billionaires who are like the same mechanical engineered politics in Asia. They are the same people who decide that, hey, it is time for Matiangi to be the president. It is time
Mhm.
for William Ruto to go. It is time for Raila. It is not time for Raila. Raila can't be the president, things like that. I believe that there's people in this country who decide that elections in Kenya are just a formality, a
Mhm.
real formality. And until then, Matiangi should know very well that it is a formality. And he probably knows. People
Mhm.
like Achagua know. People, they have been in government, they know.
I know.
And
Mhm.
even some of these sanctions, like some of the sanction or directions given to the police, they don't come from the president. They probably come from these same people. They forced Ruto to shake hands with Raila Odinga. They forced Raila Odinga to shake hands with William Ruto, and they forced to shake hands with Uhuru. But we will never be told that who these people are. At the same time, we will be blaming the politician. So there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes in politics in Kenya, but we can only control the narrative here on social media. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Alex, do you have anything to add before we close?
I think I don't have much.
Hmm.
We have had a good show. I was just listening from back there. Nikasema Makiadi akuja hapa akakataa. I don't know why Makiadi. I wanted to say hi to Makiadi. It's been long,
Yeah, me too.
but he refused to come. And I'm telling him next time he should come and give us some of his wisdom. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be planning some of these shows. The way shows, we need some structured show where we can have a debate, but not for very long time, but on the
Yes.
issues that are happening in the course of the week, and then we analyze them, and then we drop the show maybe for 20 minutes. Alex, you'll give me that number that you keep on changing, so that I
Yeah.
I can call you. Ebu put it there, because
Okay.
one of the you are one guy that I want to ask questions that are related to politics, and I'll get a very orthodox answer, and sometimes relevant. And most of the time, you are right. Yeah. Mm.
All right.
So
For me,
Benson, I think it's the right time to tell our people the truth, even when it hurts,
mhm,
especially on issues that deals with the current crops of leaders who will not be a solution even after, even if we were to take over.
mhm, yeah,
It's better for us to reiterate that, yeah, they can be part and parcel of the bigger push to get Ruto out. But then, we are dealing with a double-edged sword
yep,
that it will cut us from this side and we will turn it on this side. It still will be sharp and
mhm,
fresh and it will cut us.
yep,
And therefore prolonging the, the trauma and the suffrage of Kenyans. I've not seen truly an outsider or a person who can transform, overhaul, and bring something that obviously will benefit the people of Kenya. Even if today Ruto will die and Gachagua comes, Kindiki comes in, we still are stuck in the old politics. We need to allow people to know that even that which we call united opposition
mhm,
is a theatrical name. It has never been united. So I don't know what part of you united is the opposition that I don't know. When we went to this by-election, you saw we could not even agree in Malava for a very
Malava,
long time. It was the last minute that DCP had to yield for what? DAP. That's not unity.
even DNA, the
Okay?
one which is headed by Barack Muluka.
Exactly. So I think it's a high time for us to call a spade as we come to these spaces. We may think that we are not making sense or progress, but I
Mhm,
think eventually we will somehow through the grace of God.
okay.
Defending the status quo, it's like, replicating abnormality with insanity.
Mm,
So we want to take the insanity and then replace it with abnormality. I don't think at any point, even if we were to win and take office, if we still have Gachagua as a stakeholder in the coalition, it will be a game changer. That's the truth, okay?
Mm.
And it's a bitter truth.
catastrophic.
So
And
even if
now,
we were to go with it, let us go with it knowing that we just changed personalities. We have not voted for change
Mm,
of any nature,
mhm.
okay? We must reiterate that. And once we do that, I think people will start having alternatives and maybe we'll have substantial elected people who are independent,
Mhm.
and that will help in the future. But otherwise, currently, the way we are, I think both uh, coalitions has no structural or visionary sense of direction that will get us from the current quandary that we have had. Moi said, Kanu will rule until uh, God comes. And
Kingdom come. Mhm.
true to it, Kibaki was in Kanu, Uhuru was in Kanu, Ruto was in Kanu. So I'm only fearing that another Kanu will take. I mean, look when Moi got out until today, who
Yeah.
was not in Kanu? His
None.
prophecy, we must cut it short. Okay. And the only
Uh,
way to cut it short is to say Kashagwa was in Kanu.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Anyway, I like that, Ben, brother Ben. My closing remarks is that the future of this country will not be shaped by very loud politicians like Gashagwa or the richest campaign by a political candidate, the way my brother Alex was saying, uh, or the most powerful tribe in Kenya, be it the Kikuyu or the Luo. It will be shaped by a generation, just like his last statement, a generation of people who refuse to be bought and divided in tribal lines or be silenced or gagged. These people must be very straightforward uh, on what they want, and they must not accept handouts. Our politics must mature beyond handouts. Elections should not be about distributing money or distributing motorbikes, distributing equipment, things like that. They must be about policy, create a sustainable environment for jobs, security, and uplifting our people, and building strong institutions like the judiciary, ESC, uh, the security docket, that is the police, and a parliament. Those are the institutions that can safeguard the people of Kenya for us to have a good country. Now, again, we are in the right direction. We don't waste time here. Real power in Kenya is not in this political coalition. It is in the unity of the people of Kenya. And I hope that one day we will have a politician who is able to unite us beyond tribe, beyond Kikuyu, beyond Kisii, beyond Luo, beyond these big ethnic tribes, because I fear that the smaller tribes will be swallowed by these big ethnic blocks. When people speak tribes, then they kill the aspiration of these smaller tribes. So one day we are going to get there. But viewers at home, thank you for being with us today. I am Zalendo kama kawaida. If you have not subscribed on Afrique 24, you know where to find me on Afrique 24. Just go there, Tafuta Afrique, subscribe, and you join the shows. We have these shows that come on the weekend with Brother Ben Media here. And here we just analyze politics the way it is without being biased, and also praise where we need to praise. If the government is doing something good, we will talk about it. Like my friend Mburu, who was in Nairobi just the other day, I was telling me Ruto amejenga kujenga. And then I'm telling him, this is the same guy you were fighting the other day. Hey, Bwana Mzalendo, if you go to Nairobi today, that guy has built. So what are the opposition doing? Will they be fighting the buildings that Ruto has built? No. They have to change their strategy. They have to change their messaging. And they have to have people who are brilliant enough to know the right strategy to win election. Otherwise, thank you. And thank you, Brother Ben. Thank you, Gypsy Corner, and everybody else who was watching on the comment section. Those who are in X, Asanteni Sana. Karibu. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for keeping us company. And of course, Alex, my good friend, an enemy in politics. Asante sana for showing up.
Okay, let me take this opportunity to thank you, Mzalendo, and also thank Alex for coming in. It has for Alex, it has been a long, we've had several debates in different platforms, and it was so great to have him here. And I would say also, Alex, again, thank you so much for sparing your time to have a conversation with us. And you made me, there's some points that you've raised that I was not thinking your way, and when I'm now synthesizing them, I think they make a lot of sense. To everybody who was in the comment section, including Martin Ochieng Ligawa, who just joined us right now, we thank you so much. And we are streaming this podcast into two channels, that is Afrique 24 and Brother Benson Media. So you can subscribe so that when we are having such like conversation and having different guests, um, you can join the conversation. With those few remarks, I want to say thank you for Kenyan people, and I want to thank you also to our guest, Mzalendo and Alex, for your time. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. We see you next Saturday and Sunday. Thank you so much.